Hello and welcome to the No Strings Attached podcast, the podcast where I'm here for some reason, which is the same. I know this is the same intro that I do for Girl Talk, but you can't fucking win them all. You know, you gotta just like streamline things. It's like whenever in cartoons you see them wearing the same clothes every day. It's the same thing. But I just do a lot of podcasts. Joining me today, as always, is my lovely, beautiful, intelligent, great, illustrious, powerful co-host, Love Phenomenon. Love, how are you doing?
Those are new. I like that. I'm good.
Did you like
I
illustrious?
missed you last week.
I feel like that was a good one. Yeah,
yes.
we didn't do a podcast for 1 week, and it felt like approximately 19 years. It felt like almost as long as I've been alive. It was horrible. My life was worse. I'll just say that. And then also joining us is the great, the powerful, the very young TKDono. Dono.
Hello.
Let's clarify this one more time before we get started. Is it Dono or Dono? Really fast for the people.
It's Dono.
Have you considered rebranding to something that people don't struggle saying?
Listen, it's not my fault people don't. Well, I guess it kind of is, but
like I told you before, Dono. I was like, if people knew what your first name was, they would get it.
So easy.
Yeah, they would get it, and but it's the fact they don't, and so like it's kind of, you know, like you can't do anything about that, right?
Yeah.
But so Love just said right before we started that she wanted to talk about a story from Dono and DC, and I have a story from Dono and DC as well.
Oh God.
Let me look up the statute of limitations on mine before I talk about it. So while you talk about yours, I'm gonna look up the statute of limitations on that. But you go ahead, Love. What was your story?
No. So we all at DC, we were in the house and we had gotten pizza, and everybody showed up, including Dono, and I'm looking at him to pass him drinks before we go to the bar, and I'm like, how old are you? And he goes, no, I can't. And I was like, oh no, you really can't. I was like, nope, can't do it. And I like walked away for a hot second, and I think at one point I actually passed him a drink, like, you could have just this one.
Just one. It was like the smallest little.
It was the
shot.
Cheers of soju that we all did. Yeah, It was the cheers for all of us like being together, and I was like, that's it. Dono can't have any more.
It tasted like ass crack. So I don't know why people drink alcohol, but y'all do your thing.
Okay, so
soju's so good.
Funny
soju
enough,
is so
my
good.
story.
If that's good, I don't want to try anything else.
Yeah, no, soju is delicious. But this is it's funny that you say that, Love, because mine is also based around alcohol and Dono.
Oh my God.
So allegedly in Minecraft in DC in Minecraft, we were all in the kitchen. And I think I am one of the only people that knows how old Dono is, right? Like I know, right? Like I just do. And so we're sitting there like all standing around. And by the way, Dono doesn't look even nearly like the youngest person here. Like Dono looks like he's like 23. Like I'd say he looks like he's my age. Like he doesn't
like 22.
He doesn't look younger than me, like by much at least. You know what I mean? Like you might look at him and be like, maybe a little bit, but if you don't know him and you're just like looking at him in his face, you'd be like, yeah, I'd say you're like 20, 23, somewhere in there, somewhere within that range. And so nobody's questioning anything. I see people like kind of handing him alcohol, and sometimes I'll just see him literally walk back and put it back in the fridge. And then sometimes I'll see him like kind of just like, but like, what the fuck? Like, what do I do? Or say no or whatever. And so I see somebody, not naming names, walk up and hand Dono alcohol, and I had an opportunity to stop it, and I saw Dono's face had changed, and his face went, fuck it. Like I saw him like go, yeah, you know what? Who cares? And I just go, it's like I didn't see shit.
So like, wow, what's over there?
It's a really crazy molding on the wall.
This ceiling is so great.
The
like
ceilings in here.
this ceiling is so good.
Have you seen the ceilings over here, Jazzy? I don't know if you have. Like and then I look back, and Dono's face is like this. He's like. He's like fucking ugh. Like just it looked like somebody just like put a lemon in his mouth.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
not
rather
sure.
had a lemon.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I actually handed.
No, I'm gonna be
100%
honest, Love. I know who it was, and it was not you. So whenever you said that, I'm like, it was not
you.
I
was like, I definitely did pass him something, but then I realized how old he was, and he literally immediately put it down. He was just like,
I was like, oh, I'm not gonna drink that.
Matt, you talk about it?
No.
Wait, you can't drink, and you guys wanted to talk about prawn? I mean, you guys will talk about prawn if you can't
Listen,
drink.
I know what prawn is, okay? I am a veteran, if you will.
I
don't even know what to say at this point, but yeah, I've seen it.
Donna's like,
experienced it.
Donna's
I have a Twitter account, guys.
I have so many questions, but at the same time, you're so young that you're actually outside of my box cutoff.
But you know,
so,
what's funny though, Love, is
what?
I feel like so
There's
what
a
what Love is describing is and we
Mhm.
both agree on this, and I don't think that you would agree on this because I think that your cutoff right now is going to be 18, right? Like your cutoff is going to be 18 because you're so young.
Oh, it is a hard cutoff. At
Yeah,
18.
it's a hard cutoff at 18.
Hard cutoff.
Because you're so young that it makes sense for that to be right? Like it's like yeah, 18's fine. But for Love and I, Love has deemed hers. What was yours, Love? You said did you say 24 was yours? Yeah,
That is correct.
24. Yeah, 24 is hers.
24.
I'm in that cutoff. I'm just saying. I mean, it is what it is.
Tyler's in
And
the
then
cutoff.
and then mine is 21 right now. 21, and then you have to be mature for a 21-year-old is my rule. Like if you're 21, you have to be like yeah, I've graduated college early and I'm on my own and I'm doing, like I'm responsible and I have, you know what I mean? You can't be 21 in college fucking having daddy and mommy pay for fucking everything. I would hate that. Like I would just be like I would not be compatible with you. And so like that's my cutoff. Yeah, sorry, Dono. It is what it is.
I'm sorry.
But you know, it's funny, Love. I was just realizing this. I feel like this is a thing that happens every once. Hey, yo, Larp. Chill out. Larp said my cutoff is 65, trying to get this inheritance for real. Hey, yo. Hey, Larp. Big brain play.
Oh my god.
No, but I was gonna say, isn't it funny? Because like, I feel like I'm not like I would not be comfortable dating somebody Dono's age, but like. At the end of the day, I view somebody who's Dono's age. Dono, do you want to say your age? I don't know if you're comfortable saying your age.
I am 19 spanking years old, almost 2 decades.
Yeah, almost 20. I'm like, I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want with him if he's 19, almost 20.
That young.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want with somebody who's 19, almost 20. That's my thought. I'm like, oh, fucking, you're an
Literally,
adult, you know?
let me put this in perspective for you.
Mm-hmm.
You are literally, when do you turn 20?
June of next year.
Next year? Okay. You are literally 8 years older than my son. So to me, you are a baby.
Oh
like,
my god.
I can't, brain computing not happening, not working. It's just like, baby.
That is fair. Actually, Love, I was expecting whatever you just said for me to be like, come on, Love. And then you said it, I'm like,
no fair.
I see where you're coming from actually on this one. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that this is a perfect transition to our next topic, which is where is your line? And Love, I guess I'll phrase this towards you, and Dono can answer it from a peripheral standpoint. Where is your line on like when somebody asks you to do something in a sexual context where you're like, no? So the one that got brought up that like started this conversation was saying, would you piss in your girl's mouth if she asked for it? Here's my answer. Let me answer first. My answer is, how hydrated am I? No, but no, seriously. But seriously, how hydrated am I? And then 2, can I like not be on my bed when I do it, please? Because that's my actual only concern.
Having the same face right now, just like.
Because this is my thing, right? Donna's face. This is my thing. I really want to get this clip, by the way, just so I can post it on, or at least get a screenshot of that like moment and be like, these are both the people on my podcast when I'm describing that I would piss in my girlfriend's mouth if she asked me to. You're both just like, ugh. But this is my thing. I am
escape, right?
I am a
Alt delete.
I'm a very giving part in the sense that like. I will do whatever you ask me to up until a point. Like if you're like, hey, this is my kink, this is what I'm into, I'm like, I can do that for you. Like I can provide these are services that I provide up until a point. The times that I've said no was one, whenever a girl was like, she goes, hit me, but whenever she said hit me, she didn't say hit me, she said like literally punch me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking punch you at the end of the day. Like there's no reality in which I'm just gonna fucking wail on you while we're having sex. That's not happening. And then 2. I was asked at one point, she was like, can I put a finger in your butt? And I'm like, no, I'm not really into that. And she goes, come on. And I'm like, no, I'm just not really into that. She's like, come on. I'm like, no, seriously, please stop. Like, I don't want that at all. And those were the 2 times where I've said no. If she said, can you piss on me or can you piss in my mouth? I would say, yep, let's go to the shower. I can take care of that for you. Like, I'm totally fine with that. I can accommodate that, but I ain't kissing you until you brush your teeth for real. That's my answer. Love, if somebody were to say, Love Phenomenon, will you piss on my chest? What would you say?
No. No, I'm sorry, I cannot accommodate you, and I am such a people pleaser. Like, and you know this. Like, I am a people pleaser. Like, I live for pleasing my partner. But like, if you are into that, I cannot. I will tell
Love.
you to go find somebody that is, and that's fine.
There's
I'll give you a hall pass for that situation.
no, you wouldn't.
Only.
No, you wouldn't.
We'll give you for that. Yes,
Oh
I will give you a
my
hall
god.
pass.
Okay, you know what's funny is love. It actually shocked me whenever you were so against this. Like when you were like no, what the fuck? I was like, what?
So you have to understand. I studied marine biology and biochemistry for 4 years.
So you know
all
it's
of
in
the
piss.
chemicals, all the chemicals, all the bacteria, like it's a hard pass for me, like in terms of safety of your health, my health, so on and so forth. Like, and not to mention, like, again, I'm not kink shaming. Whatever floats your goat,
Gross.
whatever gets you going, that's all you. And like, I support you, but you're not gonna get it from me.
See,
No.
it shocks me because I know how like love is like always talking about how like, yep, I'll do anything, whatever you want, kind of thing is like kind of how love is. She's very free love, you might say. And so that's shocking me. Donna, really quickly, what would you say if a girl was like, okay, Donna, hold on, let me paint the picture for you. This is your dream girl. 10 out of 10. Great personality, amazing with your parents, will be a great mother one day. You can't wait to spend the rest of your life with this person. And she says, hey, can you just piss on my chest a little bit later? What do you say?
No.
I
have boundaries that I have set up.
Yeah,
to,
like that.
For my
that
sanity,
falls,
you know?
Yeah,
So-
that falls into that category where it's like, I understand that that's what you want, but I'm now uncomfortable, and it's now gonna affect how I look at you in a sexual manner.
Right.
Like-
Severely
Like-
affect how I look at you in a sexual manner.
Yeah, like if that's totally something that you want out of me, I can't be the one to do it for you. Like, I'll give you a hall pass. I will give you a hall pass if that's something you need once a month. Hall pass.
That's
You
absolutely
got it.
disgusting, by the way, love, because I would rather know that it's my piss than somebody else's
Oh,
piss.
God.
Like the idea
would-
that my partner
no.
comes back with somebody else's piss residue in their mouth and starts kissing me
Oh,
is
no.
like the
Oh,
worst.
no.
I can't
There
imagine
are
that.
lines that would be there would be like a full contract detail on that. There would be like a full drawn up, like, sign on the dotted line, blood fingerprint, so that I can take your firstborn if you fuck it up. Like,
Dear God.
Blood fingerprints.
just saying.
What is this, Naruto, and you're summoning a toad?
Yes.
Name of your first pet.
He said
Yes.
the person's already ready for her to say that because she's a weeb, and he bites his own thumb, goes and like writes it on the piece of paper.
Yeah, he's just so ready.
No,
He's like
so
ready.
this is so I know that like kink shaming goes in both ways, right? Like people like to believe that it only goes in one way, but kink shaming goes in both ways. So I'm trying my best not to be closed-minded to y'all's perspective either. But if this is 10 out of 10 my dream girl, I'm really doing just about anything for like I'm like whatever you need, I will accommodate, unless it's a finger in my butt.
So let me paint the picture for you,
All right,
Tyler.
let's hear it.
Let me paint you a picture. 10 out of 10. Dono, this could go for you too, although again, it's weird. You're only 19.
Oh my God. I can
I'm just
adopt a
kidding.
child
I'm
if I really wanted to.
No, you can't.
I could own a house technically if I had enough. Well, my credit's not bad actually. So you know, but anyways,
Dono,
the point
you can
is-
tell Dono's an
Anyway.
adult because the first thing he said was,
Okay.
my credit's not bad.
So all right, so here, let me paint this picture for you guys. Okay, so your dream girl walks in. 10 out of 10. Great mother to your children, all the things that Tyler said, the works. Like, she gets along with your parents, you get along with her parents, everything's like kosher magosher, everybody loves each
Not
other.
kosher makosher.
And she looks at you and she goes, hey babe, let me peg you.
No.
How old am I?
I am drawing a line there. That's
Right now,
not
Ty.
happening.
Right now, Ty.
Right now, no, but I have a feeling that whenever I'm 40 something, I'll be open to the idea. I'll be like, yeah, I've done everything else. Like, let's fucking do it.
If that would, yeah, if that's the case, 10 years, yeah, no, because you're at that stage in life where, like, you know what, fuck it, I only live this life, like, ain't nobody gonna know. I get that, but again, both of you just hard no, just like
I don't know if it's a
Dono
hard
and I
no.
hard no.
I'm thinking about it. Like, the reason why I don't know if it's a hard no is because if this is actually the perfect woman for me, it's like, damn, like that doesn't come along often. Like that's like some movie shit that doesn't happen in real life. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I could fucking pass that up for almost anything. Like, it would have to be, I don't know if I just don't want to be pegged so fucking badly. Like, it's like outweigh. Like, I would rather settle for somebody who's 75% perfect for me than 100 and not have to be pegged. I think that's what I would go with.
I would settle for somebody 75% perfect and not have to piss on them.
I want to raise the point, right? Sure. That if they're 100% perfect for me, then if they want to get pegged and I say no, they totally understand. That's 100% perfect.
Bingo, bango.
Good call.
There you go.
Then you're 100%. You're solid either way.
All right, they're 99% perfect. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I'm saying is, like, at that point, like, if it's 100% the person that's like 100% for you, like 100% perfect for you, they're gonna understand that, like, you have boundaries, and like that might not be something that you can accommodate in your relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make sacrifices in your relationship. Listen, women don't get to orgasm all the time. Guess what? It happens.
Bro, can we talk about really quickly? Love just recently did a so there have been 2 streams that I watched recently. Which, by the way, I have found another side effect of taking Adderall is I can actually sit through streams now. I didn't realize that was a problem for me before. I just thought I didn't like Twitch. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I don't think Twitch is for me. And then since I've been on Adderall, I can actually sit there and watch it and be so entertained the entire way through. And so 2 streams that I've seen recently. One, the heating up episode from last night, so fucking good. I was
Leah.
Firstly, I was also like high as fuck for that entire thing, and it was so funny. I was literally like I was rolling in my bed laughing like so fucking hard watching this. They were just hilarious. Secondly, the other one where I was just not high this time. I was watching Love's part of it. I was only able to watch like 20 or 30 minutes of Love's sex episode. The sex episode. Sex episode. How would you say it?
Sex Uncensored.
Okay.
It was literally just the sex episode.
This is not a new podcast, so this is still under the what is it? Is it Phoenix Fire podcast?
Yep, it's the Fire Phoenix podcast. It's the rebrand on Simply Phenodex. So yeah. Yes,
so hey, what up, Treasy? What up, Orange Tomato? Honestly, I don't really smoke regular weed. I just smoke this Delta 8 shit that just got legal in Texas, and so I've been just smoking that to go to sleep. It's been pretty nice. But they had an episode where they were basically talking about everything sex. Firstly, Love, tell me your experience with talking about, like, how was it to get, because like Love and I are very open about like sexuality in general, I think. I can say that. But even watching that, it was shocking to me to see you guys talking so openly about sex, and on top of watching you guys be so open about sex, also watching everybody else in chat, myself included, being so open about sex. And I thought it was very refreshing. So how was that? How did you like that?
I think it comes from the safe space that like we as creators have already created. So like there's like this little bubble that kind of already exists, and we just firm that up when we go into certain topics, just like when we do on NSA.
Right.
So like our bubble already exists, but then we just kind of like just make sure that the walls are sturdy. When I chose, and I chose people off of Twitter. There was a tweet that was put up that was like, hey, I need some people. And it was meant for people to react by liking the tweet or leaving a little comment stating that they were comfortable talking about sex, because the thing is women are so uncomfortable usually, but having both Tipsy and Jelly there was perfect. They ping-ponged off of each other. They had really good chemistry. So it was absolutely perfect. I could not have planned that episode any better.
Well, plus I think like on top of like I think the reason why women are uncomfortable about sex is because like societally they don't get this, they get shamed whenever they talk about sex, right?
Yeah.
So if you put them in an environment where it's like, hey, this is what we're doing, we're literally talking, this is what we're talking about today, then I think that it makes them more comfortable to talk about sex. That'd be my thought, at least, you know.
Yeah, and like we literally said to them, like before they even came on, I messaged each of them and I was like, what are our boundaries? Is there certain things that you don't want to talk about? Blah, blah, blah. And obviously, like, the do's and don'ts were, don't bring up my current bring up my current sex life. Don't bring up, like, names, blah, 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 blah. And that's pretty, like, normal, standardized stuff. You don't want to throw names or throw situations that are very real and very, like, right now, up in the faces of your viewers, because then, like, it can get a little weird.
Yeah,
especially if
you can't take it back. Once you've given out information, there's no going back. You know what I mean? Like, once the information's out there, it's out there. And one of the things that you guys didn't want to talk about, which I totally understood, like, this is funny because you guys started, like, I think you said we can talk about this, but I'm not comfortable telling mine. It was I think it was your sexual fantasy nobody knows about, and I was like, and I literally thought right whenever you read that question, I would not answer this question. Like I was like I won't answer, and then all of you were like, yep, not answering this one. I'm like, yep, don't blame you.
That's
that
a
makes
hard
total
pass
sense
for me, dog.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
The thing about fantasies
Katie?
is they're meant to remain fantasies. Like you're really not supposed to tell anybody about them until you're like doing them. Like you're literally supposed to tell like the selected person that you're trying to like play that out with. So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, yeah, no, I will not tell you, because then I don't want to get roasted, first of all,
or
by
judged.
any chance, or judged.
Yeah.
And that's a thing as a woman that's really common, is the stigmatization and the judgment of us sexually expressing ourselves.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I was thinking about that while we were talking about the fucking water sports topic we were talking about earlier. I was like, isn't it funny how I can say this so, like, it's such a male privilege moment where I'm like I am talking about this openly because I don't give a fuck and nobody will judge me. But I'm like, I feel like if Love does say like, yeah, I'd let somebody piss on me, all of a sudden it's like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with you, Love? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you might have gotten something if you'd have said that. So
yeah, I definitely probably would have gotten flamed a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because I get it now, being a bisexual person, that in all honesty, everybody knows like what my ideal relationship would look like. And I get flamed for that pretty regularly.
Yeah, and that's something that I think can be like, I think that sexuality in terms of who you are wanting to be with is more normalized now than like
definitely.
sexuality as far as like what you're interested in or what you're into and stuff like that. Please pee on me, Love. Oh my god.
Y'all are a mess.
Y'all are crazy. They're a mess in the chat right now. But that's the thing, is like 10 years ago, I could have never come out like as bisexual comfortably in the first place. 10 years ago, I definitely could not have put my view on relationships in the way that I ideally would like to, live 10 years ago. Now in mainstream, like the LGBTQAI plus community has become so mainstream and it's so widely accepted. Tyler, move your... Thank you.
Yeah. Creed, thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate it, bro. Welcome in, Creed. Miss you.
It's so mainstream that I can talk about it comfortably, but a lot of people are still very close-minded, to be quite honest. And they give me shit about it, like, oh, you don't want to be monogamous? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I would like to practice ethical, what is technically called ethical non-monogamy, not polyamory, not polygamy. Like, it's called ethical non-monogamy.
And I think that is one that is still like, let me ask you this, Dono. If somebody were, is that a deal breaker for you in particular? Like if somebody were to say, hey, I want to be in a say, how did you just say it, Love? I'm sorry, I want to respect what you just said.
Ethical non-monogamy.
Okay, yeah. So if somebody, if somebody came up to you and said that, and they said, "Hey, I want this kind of relationship, and these are my guidelines, these are my standards, and everything like that," would you like be completely averse to that?
I don't know if I'd be completely adverse to it. I mean, it's definitely something that I'm not used to and I've never experienced, right? But then again, I can't also really form a valid opinion on it without first going through it.
That's a fucking man of culture answer that you just gave right now. And by the way, this is why I love this is what I'm saying too, is this motherfucker's mature for a 19-year-old. I'm telling you, like this.
No, that's what I mean. It's like looking at Ruby. It's like looking at Ruby. Ruby's 17, and Ruby's actually like mentally mature. Probably at like 24.
Yeah, and it's
like, the same for Dono.
And like what Dono just said right there is so much. If I was 19, Love, you know what I would have said? I would have said, what the fuck? No, I'm the jealous type. I would never, like, that would have been my response at 19. I would be like, no, what the fuck? Like, it would have been a kid answer, right? Because I was a kid. I think that is, but like, I think that ultimately, like, the way that society like views that in particular is very, facts. I agree, Katie. But I think that is a very one, and actually some guys, super good point. Yeah, my area is still against that kind of stuff. Depending on the location that you live and that you grew up in, I think will be a huge like factor in what you think of this. Because Dono growing up, Dono, does everybody know where you grew up? I think yes.
In California?
Like, like everybody knows you're in California. So Dono grew up in California, so pretty liberal and pretty, like he's surrounded by like more of that sort of stuff. Growing up in Texas, it was like the sentiment here was any sort of extramarital affairs were viewed as you now have to kill this person. And literally even, oh, you're good. And literally, so much so that even if you said, hey, hey, what up, Blizz? Literally, even if you were like, hey, this is the context of my relationship, even then, like, it would be like, nope, you have to kill him now. Like, there's no reality in which you don't have to kill this person at the end of this.
Oh God.
I think that's crazy. Every once in a while I'll be talking to Dono and I'll just kind of realize like, oh fuck, we have such a huge cultural difference between, especially because of like where we were raised. Like I think that like that has a huge impact on us. I think Dono is and Dono, tell me if you've. There's really no way for you to do this because of your own personality and what I'm about to say about you, but I want you to try. I was about to say, Dono I think is more agreeable than I am, and he's more apt to listen to you completely all the way through. What up, Blitz? Even if he disagrees with your point, he's more likely to sit there and like actually hear your entire thing and not make any judgments. He's less judgy than I am, and I think he's overall nicer than I am. Would you agree with that? Would you say that that's true, or would you? Because the problem is like that ending part that I said, where I said he's nicer than I am. He's so nice that I feel like he's gonna have a difficult time saying that he is not or is nicer than me. But go ahead. What's your answer?
I don't think that I am nicer than you are. You are quite a wonderful and Chad-like individual. But I think I agree for the most part. I mean, I might make silent judgments in my head a little bit, but yeah, no, I like listening to where people stand to try and better interpret or I guess understand what they're thinking or what they're going through. And that in turn helps me not only empathize with someone else or better stand firm in my own argument, if that makes sense.
I think
from my own point of view.
I think too, I don't know if it's because of where you grew up or you know what I think it was is I think that from what I've seen in the relationship with your dad and you, I think that y'all have he treats you like, how do you say, he is
like an adult.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like, every time that I've seen him interact with you, it's been peer to peer until it's not. Like there are times where like he'll be like, hey, do this or do that.
There's a line at some point,
right?
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, he's very much like, hey, this is my this is my son, but at the same time he's my friend, and he's also somebody that I can look at and be like, hey, I can trust this person with this kind of like level of responsibility and everything like that. And I think that will mature you quickly, like organically, you know what I mean? Not like in a I feel like a lot of people that get that mature quickly are maturing quickly out of necessity, but I feel like you matured quickly because of the relationship that you had with your father, right? Like I think that was what it was. Would you agree with that?
100%. And my mom too. I mean, my biological mom was a whole nother rabbit hole story.
Right.
But the person I call mom that I love and cherish very much. Hopefully she doesn't watch this because she's gonna make me cry later. But yeah, no, she's another reason that I have sort of taken a responsible look on life, if that makes sense. Like she is even a little worse than my dad. She's like, oh yeah, we need to have him pay for like some of his bills and whatnot so he can get used to that kind of thing when he moves away to college and all that fun stuff. So both of them have thoroughly contributed to who I am today.
I think dads are good at like showing you like this is how it was in my estimation, at least. My dad, and all of his flaws and all of his issues and everything, and again, like whole nother can of worms, like same thing with you just said. It's like fuck, here we go, like we're about to get into this. But my dad was very like he showed me all of the things that I needed to know about like the basics of how to be a man in some sense, and then also he also showed me like how to interact with adults to a good degree, like because he treated me in the same way your dad kind of treated you as an equal. My dad like treated me as an equal starting at a young age. Like he wouldn't talk down to me, he would talk to me like peer to peer, even though I was fucking 15 or whatever, you know what I mean? He would talk to me like as a peer for the most part. And then so what I was gonna say on the inverse of that is I think that moms are really, really good, and I could get emotional talking about this because I just wrote this thing for my mom for Christmas. And one of the things that I feel like I learned the most from my mom, like growing up and in my formative years, was I think that like I learned what my morals are. Like she's the one who instilled me with morals and gave me like a perspective on how to treat women and also how to treat people in general. and like, you know, just basically basic sets of morals, and when to do right, and like the fact that even whenever it's not, you know, comfortable and like in a good time for you to do something right, you still do the right thing at the end of the day. So yeah, I feel like that's how my relationship went with my parents, and I think that you had a similar experience from the sounds of it.
Yeah,
but love.
Oh.
I was not quite done talking about the sex episode because I had so much fun being there for while I was there. But you had to get up and feed your child. You had to do what moms do.
How could you?
Yeah,
No.
I'm sorry. I literally called him a hellspawn.
Yeah, I know. I like it. You know, I love whenever parents like make little memes like that. Like whenever they like say like every once in a while LARP will be like, yeah, they're gonna have to fight for their food today. Like,
yeah, like I locked him in the basement so I could stream.
Yeah, and in actuality, you know, obviously like LARP or you are like great parents. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to actually think about that, but it's just funny whenever they do it. By the way, Cal had a message highlighted. I do feel obligated to read it. 27 years, and I just realized that you be motherfucking robbing people when they lose a Pokemon battle. Yo macha ain't have the motherfucking McHands. Now you run your pockets and catch my fade, and I stay with that motherfucking Dragonite. That is how it would be.
Like
that's funny as fuck. Also,
he's not wrong.
Also, rest in peace to Blizz. 9 more years of school. Jesus Christ, hate to see it. But Blizz will be successful at the end of those 9 years. So I mean, it is what it, and probably before that too. My dad was talking to me peer to peer when I was 6. Yeah, I mean everybody has a different one. Oh, Jesus Christ, Cal, I can't even read that. That's just fucked.
Dono's camera went by.
Dono, come back. I feel like good dads do that too. Gender roles in parenthood aren't it for real. I still install. Wait, Dono, I don't hear you.
I said.
Oh.
No, I was mouthing. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, somebody came in.
I instill morals as much. Okay, right. Let me ask you this. So this is an interesting question. I was gonna get back to the sex episode, but it's kind of tough to do that whenever LARP just presented me with that idea and I can't get it out of my fucking head. Now it's just stuck in my head. Creed, that's an interesting time to see Love's first stream. That's interesting.
I'm sorry, Cosmic.
No,
I'm sorry.
and
that was actually on the podcast channel.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, that was on the podcast channel. That's not even my main channel. My main channel gets a little wild.
Oh yeah, it's because didn't I raid you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's why. Okay, I was like, wait, how did he find your podcast channel but not yours? Like, I feel like that's not the right like train of events. You know what I mean? But okay, so going back to what LARP just said, I feel like I can't get parents to sex. Solid transition. Ayo. We're going back to parents because of that. So, my dad treated me like a stranger from the. Oh god. So he said, LARP said, I feel like good dads do that too. Gender roles and parenthoods aren't it for real. I instill morals as much, if not more, than the mom. So, Love is in a similar spot to my mom whenever I was growing up, where there was no, I'm going to play one role. It was, I am going to play both roles, and there's no option. I'm going to play both roles. Like, that's just how it has to be, right? Do you think that there is utility in having some sort of, like, gender-based roles whenever it comes to parenthood, or do you think that it should be completely devoid? And this goes back to something that Sin, me, LARP, I'm trying to remember who was all in there. If I'm missing people, I'm sorry. I remember it being me, Sin, and LARP having like and Vor and Ruby being like the main people that were having this conversation. But we were talking about like gender roles in general and like the differences between the two sexes, like you know, between men and women. We were talking about like what are the differences, and like do you think that you should like acknowledge those differences and use them in certain ways or not use them in other ways, right? So those were like the questions that were being posed. So let me pose that question to you in this way. Do you think that it's beneficial to have I'm going to say gender roles, but like only because that's the easiest way for me to articulate it, even though I understand like gender in a different way now, right? Cat time. Let's go.
I just got really excited over your cat.
Sorry, he jumped down from the bed, so I guess he wants attention.
Do you think that we should have gender roles in parenthood, or do you think it should be completely like, you know what, just raise them how they need to be raised, or what do you think, Love?
I mean, I don't live under the construct. I believe in the construct that it takes a village to raise a child, because it does. It's
something that we've lost in our society recently.
Something that we have really lost, like, and it's not even recent. Like, we lost that in our society a long time ago.
How long ago do you think?
And by village, like raising children, I mean like you're talking about like literally villages raising children. Like multiple mothers can breastfeed if they need to. Multiple mothers can do multiple things. Moms are passing away. Therefore, other moms are taking over those roles for that child. Like that's the type of village that I like. That's the village term that I
So
mean.
you don't mean it in the more like modern sense of like, yeah, sometimes you'd go over to your neighbor's house. You know what I mean? Like that's not what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's more of a modern sense,
Right.
yes. But we lost that probably about 50 years ago. We started losing that. The more dangerous the world became, the more closed off we became from our peers. I again don't have the luxury to live under the construct that it takes a village to raise a child. Rich people tend to have that lovely construct because they have nannies, butlers, maids, whatever to help their child when they're not there, or if they even want anything to do with their child. But in my eyes, a parent should just be a parent, regardless of gender roles, gender norms, or societal norms. You need to be the best parent possible for your child. Regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what society tells you that you need to be, regardless of your gender, regardless of how you feel, you need to be a parent. Like, I literally went off in my Discord in the rants section for like, I don't know, probably like 20 minutes about some little girl. I'm not gonna get into it, but some little girl that I wanted to just slap the living daylights out of because of what she said to Wyatt. Like, it's just... that's shitty parenting in my opinion. If your child feels the need to act that way, you have not instilled good morals in your child, and you have not, and you yourself have shitty morals at that point. Like, in my opinion.
Because like,
but I am in a similar
your child is literally just a direct representation of you, right? Like at the end of the day, like whenever it comes to like whenever your kid's young, right? Parent needs to be parentally a parent. Ayo, pun intended. Thank you, but appreciate that. But Donna, what do you think? Do you think there's a utility? By the way, love, I only say this because I'm going to forget. Remind me to tell you about a lecture that I sat through. It was a guest speaker for my philosophy class that kind of touched on what you were just talking about right then. But Donna, what do you think?
I mean, I think Love kind of covered it all, to be honest. Like, there's nothing, like, both of my parents will punish the ever-loving shit out of me.
Right.
All right? And both parents do whatever they can and whatever they need to do in order to take care of me and my siblings and whatnot. So there's not really, like... Even my dad cooks very occasionally, you know, so I wish that he would do that a little more often, like kind of intermixing, making it a tad more equal in certain senses, right?
Like as far as like the workflow goes, you mean like in the house?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know, people like, aside from my parents have raised me, like my uncle, he was amazing. I'm not going to get too far into that because I'm going to start crying. But like a lot of those, I'm
like, I can't be the only one crying on this show. We gotta get somebody else to cry.
But like, there's that sense of community that I feel that we've all lost, like Love said, as a society, right? We actually had to go through an assignment based on this in my English class, like last semester. You need that authentic human connection between you and like your community of other people that you've chosen, in a sense, like that not blood family type of deal, you know, like the people in your life who you specifically have allowed to be there, in a sense, that all you go through life together, and you can go through and you can raise children together and just be there for each other in general.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry. No. To like elaborate on that too, just like a tad more, is like, Dono, you don't have to answer this, but kind of you do, unless you're not, unless you're completely uncomfortable. What age gap is there between you and your parental units?
Really, my dad and my mom? They're like 40, so like my dad had me when he was 23, so it was quite
that's insane to me because he was literally a year younger than me whenever he had you. That's insane.
Yeah. So, okay, so let me put this in perspective for chat. So the reason that I am more like village mentality, like people should be like, you know, there for each other regardless of situational and whatever, and like parents being parental units, my grandparents raised me for a good chunk of my life. Like I was 10 when I moved in with them, and granted, yes, I moved out at 15, but at the end of the day, they still raised me for the puberty years, like the really big developmental years. So that was an age gap of almost 50 years, 55 almost. They were in their 60s when I arrived at 10.
Jeez.
So if you really think about it, that's why. So like, I don't like gender norm roles because when my grandfather cooked, it was great, but he didn't cook very often because that was my grandma's job.
Yeah.
He didn't do the laundry when she went away on vacation because he didn't know how. Like, it's just that type of stuff that you see in the older generations that for somebody like me growing up, it was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. And as I deviated down the path and I got pregnant very young and I had a child out of wedlock, blah, 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 it became a little bit different for me. And I was like, no, yeah, fuck these. Fuck all that. Like, I'm just going to do everything. It's fine. And I think that's where the difference in like age is like your gap is also really important when you have children. Yeah. Because your values and that you're instilling can sometimes be very outdated, because my grandparents they instilled a lot of values that were super outdated.
But
like,
that also you know what's crazy about that, love, is that like firstly, I don't think that like just because a value is outdated, I don't necessarily mean that it's inherently wrong. So whenever I say that to qualify qualify what I'm about to say, is that I find a lot of your perspectives on things to be refreshing in the sense that we've lost them, and it's actually good to get back them. Like, actually, I think that your perspective on like how we should be raised, like in the sense that it should be like a communal raising to a degree, is I think that's valid. Like, I think we need more of that, and if we had more of that, we'd have people that were more well adjusted to different circumstances and weren't just only adjusted to their own specific circumstance. So I do find it refreshing whenever like you'll say something like that. I'm like, that's one of those values that we've been taught that is that's supposed to be like, oh, fucking don't touch my kid, and that kind of shit.
It's funny because people act like I won't slap the shit out of somebody's child. Like, people are like, you wouldn't do that. No, the fuck I would.
It's like that?
The fuck I would.
Isn't that crazy, love? Because really the difference, though, really quickly, is you just fucking pointed this out to me. At some point, there was a paradigm shift, because I remember at the very beginning of my childhood, that is crazy. Oh my God, love, you just made me have a revelation. Whenever I was really young, like whenever I was like 6, 7, if somebody else were to have swatted me on my ass, I went to a private school where they literally spanked me, that kind of shit was normal.
Yeah, that's normal.
Then whenever I was like 12 or 13, and my dad was totally fine with it. My dad was like, yeah, fine. My mom's totally fine with it. Yeah. And then whenever I became like 12 or 13, it got to a point where they're like, if anybody puts their hands on my child, I will fucking kill them. And they switched their morals, and everybody around us seemingly switched their morals at the same time. That's crazy. I hadn't even thought about that until you just said that. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, it's also another good example is I have friends who are in their 30s who have children that are the same age as my son, who do not have restrictions on technology. Their phones are not programmed to go off at a certain time. They literally get to do whatever they want at their houses, jump, run, whatever. Anytime I get Wyatt back from a friend, their parents are like, he's so well behaved, he has really good manners, blah blah blah. And I literally look around and I'm like, I wonder why.
Right.
Like, Wyatt has a lot of restrictions that I grew up with, because that's the way it was done. Like, you're in before the streetlights come on. Yup, you can walk to the park by yourself. You're 11. It's across the street. You'll be fine as long as you have your phone on you. Have your phone on you. Get your ass back here in an hour. Call me every half an hour if you want to go out later than that.
It's interesting, because what you're describing is a situation in which they have both a lot of freedom and also are restricted a lot. But like, I think at the end of the day, what that actually is teaching them is, hey, you can have a lot of freedom if you're responsible, right? Like, if you're responsible, you can. But if you're not responsible, if I've never instilled responsibility in you, then I can't trust you to be free. Like, if that's going to be the case.
You're just a wild animal.
Yeah, you're just
a
wild animal.
Yeah.
I want to. So two things before we go any farther. So Yurek said earlier. Let me get back to it. I don't want to misquote them. Said, could you explain what you mean by roles? Like man handles the outside, woman handles. I said women because I'm just so fucking. This community just fucked me up. They literally said woman, and I said women. Woman handle the inside. I'm a little confused. Traditional, if we're talking about like as far as we can go, like the like most like traditional quote unquote extent would be man is the breadwinner, woman takes care of the house. That's like the most traditional, and takes care of the kids and da. That's the most traditional. That's if we're going like on the extreme side of it, right? And then I wanted to get back to the thing that I was talking about earlier, where I had this professor. So basically, my professor every once in a while in my philosophy class would be like, hey, you can get bonus points on these tests if you go to these lectures. We're gonna have a guest speaker coming in. So cool. So we have a guest speaker come in, and one of the things about college that was so different from high school and like different from a lot of my experiences was that like in Texas everybody's so conservative, like and the kids inherently are conservative just because of like what you were saying earlier, Love, where it's like you rub off on your kids, right? Like you kind of become like an extension of your parents. So everybody was really conservative. So once I got to college, everybody was really liberal, right? And this professor, this memory stands out to me so strongly because of the way that the student was reacting to what they were saying. He was describing why gender roles in the household specifically do make sense, and why some of them should be filled. And this was his perspective. Like his perspective was some of them should be like followed, and they should be like that was his perspective. My perspective is different from his, but I'm just pointing that out before I say what I'm about to say. This is not my perspective. This is his perspective. His perspective is from a clinical side of things, like from a studies and like in science-based side, is that we cannot ignore the inherent biologies and evolutionary things that go along with the differences between men and women. And one of the things that he brought up, and this is the thing that I just remember this female student fucking like losing her shit in the middle of this lecture whenever he said this, and it was fucking insane to me because I'm just sitting there just like, I'm only here to get these extra points. Like I don't actually care about this. Like let's just go. But he said one of the things, the reason why you see the stereotypical man is the father is the disciplinarian and the mother is the nurturer is because of the fact that women have a connection with their children in a way that men just never can. Like, as much as you can fucking love your kids as a man, if you're taking the general population, the woman is going to love their kid more than their father is going to love the kid in an inherent, like, deep down level that you just can't relate to. And it's because of the fact that the woman has to carry this baby to term, and then the woman has all of these instincts and hormones that are basically telling her, I have to take care of this. I need to nurture this, right? Like, that's what's happening at an evolutionary scientific basis. So basically, he was saying that he thinks that it should essentially be that way. There should be kind of like a mother as the nurturer and a father is the disciplinarian. And the girl started fucking losing her shit and being like, what the fuck? Like, no, you could do whatever you want. And in actuality, I think the answer is somewhere in between. I think the answer is actually, hey, you know what?
She clearly doesn't have kids.
Yeah, like she doesn't have kids. Like firstly, obviously. She's fucking like 18 or 19, right? She's just ignorant in general. Like, you know,
I had my kid at 18. Don't go there, Tyler.
Yeah, but she's 18 and having daddy pay for her school and is in his college, and you know what I mean? Like she's just in this situation that's so fucking privileged. She just couldn't see it because she's in it. But I think the answer does lie somewhere in the middle is what I'm getting at. I think that like one of the things that happens, right, is that I think women have this like severe, like the reason why like you see the stereotypical thing with single mothers, and this is why a lot of people like talk about like lack of fatherhood in houses, and this is what that guy's lecture was all about. It was like the lack of fatherhood in houses and housing and like how that's going up. Is he was saying like you're seeing a bunch more kids be a lot less respectful, and this is why is because these parents are not disciplining their children in the way they need to. This is where I start to disagree. My dad wasn't really there on a day-to-day basis to teach me anything. Like there was it was all on my mom, and she was able to take. Firstly, my brother was like a much worse kid than me. Like I don't know how to say that without just saying it. My brother is just a fucking way worse kid than I was. I was a great kid, all things considered, and I didn't really need much parenting at all because I would just like watch my brother and like watch my mom and like listen to what they were saying and everything like that and take that into account. But the point is, my mom did a fucking great job, and Love is another good example of this, is doing a fucking great job of playing both roles, of being a disciplinarian whenever they need to be, and also being nurturing and caring and understanding and listening to them whenever they need to be as well. And I think that is something that is lost whenever people start getting too serious into defining these gender roles. Like they make it sound like it's binary, like you have to be the disciplinarian and you have to be the nurturing one, when in actuality there's a lot of interplay, and there's a lot of intercrossing with all of those types of ideas. But yeah, that's my long-winded explanation of that story, but it was just kind of crazy whenever that lady, like that girl, started freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, like and again, she probably doesn't have kids. So and you're right, it goes down, it's biological down to the cellular level when you're a mother. because you grow a child. You literally grow them, and they are not just your DNA, but you are feeding them, you are sharing blood with them, you are like, your body is a house. It is a house. It is the house. It protects them, it feeds them, it waters them. Like, it's literally like a plant. Like, you have to take care of it, and your body instinctively takes care of it.
I think...
And then all of a sudden, the rest of you catches up, i.e., your physical, your mental, your metaphysical, your emotional catches up when this thing is now crying in your face that you couldn't see every day. Like, you can feel it every day, but you cannot see it. And I can tell you as a parent, oh, I might cry. Fuck, Tyler, why did we talk about this? I hate you.
No, it's okay to cry, love. Keep going.
I like my stuff.
There's... I fucking hate you. There's something that happens when you look at your child for the first time, and it's like the world just becomes like a dull roar. And it's a scary, 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 no matter how old you are, it is scary when it happens. But everything in the world is on pause for a solid 30 seconds. Solid, you can't think, you can't hear, you're just looking at this human being with every ounce of protection and love you have. Like, it supersedes your relationship, it supersedes your parents, it supersedes everything when another human enters the world. Like, it's absolutely insane, and I know fathers feel that as well, but again, down to the cellular level, it's very different for a woman. It's so different.
I underestimated
It's
the
so
fact that
different.
if love cries, I will also cry, and so let's stop talking about this. I feel my eyes welling up with tears. So I'm trying not to cry right now. But no, I think you know what you made me realize by saying that is every time that I've ever seen, like, if you see somebody getting their picture taken, you can a lot of times see, even if it's 1%. You know, you can see some level of, like, they're aware of their surroundings and they're, like, kind of, like, you know, they're not being their true authentic self. When you see the first picture of a mother with her baby and, like, they don't have that. Like, you can just tell that just by looking at regular pictures and then looking at a picture of a mother with their baby. There is no... They're not conscious of anything other than that baby right now. Like, the only thing that they even know exists for sure is that baby. Everything else is just in the background, is out of focus, and it doesn't mean anything to them anymore. Like, this is the only thing that means anything. I just realized that whenever you said that, like, every time that I've ever seen one of those pictures, it's always like you can just see the difference between somebody who's, like, out in public getting their picture taken and they're self-conscious of their surroundings. They don't want to be, like, taking pictures. They're embarrassed a little bit. There's no embarrassment whenever a mother is, like, holding their baby. There's zero of that, which is rare to happen. What up, Big Dell? I leave for 2 seconds. Y'all are crying. What happened? Let me read these two messages really fast. God, I really wish I would have considered the fact that if love cried, I was gonna cry, because I felt my eyes start welling up, my throat started killing. I'm like, fuck! I'm like, goddamn, I can't win.
If this goes on any longer, there are gonna be tears on my end.
There's gonna be 3 people crying on the. Donna, we need you to stay strong. Out of us 3, somebody's got to carry. Somebody's got to carry.
I literally watched Donna look at every other part of the screen except my face.
I'm like, I can't.
I literally watched it happen, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
That's funny.
Donna,
well, I asked Urek what the blank slate theory was. I don't know if that's what he's responding to, but they said when the traditional male roles go into the world, he/she can become callous to the issue that the child may experience, which is seen as less compassionate. Oh wait, is that the blank slate theory? Or is it? I'm confused, Urek. Is that the blank slate theory? I think I might be conflating something else. Just clarify that, and then we'll get back to it.
I think that is the blank slate theory.
I still don't understand, like, fully, like, I guess, like, what do you want to talk about regarding that, Urek, if that is the blank slate theory? I just don't know which direction you want to go there. I'm down to go any direction, but I'm not sure what you're trying to get at there. And then Diet said, I mean, I don't know many people, mainly because I don't fuck with people. Facts. But as a father, I have never thought of myself as needing to conform to a role for my daughter. I'll spoil her. Then 5 minutes later, I am making her go to bed. I treat my daughter like my little friend. I think, an interesting perspective that Di just brought to the table, and also the one that like Love just is in, right? Like this is just her perspective because it's her reality. Is that, have you noticed that there's a big difference between how a dad raises a daughter and how a mom raises a son? I see this all the time. Your cat's tail.
Yeah. She's licking my napkin from when I had that piece of chicken when I came back. She's just licking my napkin like a weirdo.
But yeah, so like so let's get away from children really fast and go to like young adults. One thing that I'll notice is wait. That's you, Dono. Is that what you're saying?
I am a young adult.
Admitted he's young now, just for
that. See?
I am a young adult.
Let's get the thumb sucking little baby 19-year-olds really quickly. And no.
Let's calm down there.
That was rough.
No, but
thumb sucking.
That you're born without. Oh, okay, right. Oh, that you're born without bias and everything is learned from your surroundings. Yeah, that's the blank slate. Okay, that makes more sense to me. I was like, how is it the blank slate theory? I was like, maybe I'm just not like understanding what you're saying. I think that there are certain things that are ingrained in your genetic code that you're going to be predisposed to, like different temperaments and things of that nature, mental illnesses and whatnot. But I think that as far as like the blank slate theory goes, that is what I thought you were talking about. I think that you can. I think nature versus nurture is oftentimes like super heavily debated, right? True because genetic memory is real. Not 100% true because genetic memory. No, I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I think that there's like certain things that are in your genetics that you can't kind of get away from. And I think that with nature versus nurture as heavily debated as it is, the common consensus that I see among psychologists and whatnot from like looking into it myself is that they kind of agree that unless you're talking about like mental health, obviously, but if we're talking about everything else, you can pretty much, you're more influenced by your surroundings and your upbringing than you are by who your parents are for most things. There are things where there are like overlap and everything like that, but yeah, I think that's like the common thread that we go down. But talking about and yeah, I'm kind of I'm indifferent on that one, Creed, personally. I kind of just keep an open mind to it with zodiac signs. I'm just open to them, but I'm not like super like oh yeah, I'm this, so I gotta believe that or whatever. But going back to like old, so this is something that I've noticed and Love, I'll have to get your perspective to see if you've noticed this or seen this, and Donna, I would like to get your perspective as well.
Okay.
Have you guys noticed that like, and we're gonna talk about women specifically here, right? LARP. God damn it. Women, it seems like this. Mothers, and we're talking about 19, 20, 21, somewhere around there. Actually, anywhere from like 16 to 20, I'd say is like the range that I'm talking about specifically right now. I've noticed that mothers, whenever their daughters get to around those ages, at least not every time, obviously, like this is going to be a big generalization, and it's just from my experience, from what I've seen, they tend to get like an air of like jealousy or like a feeling of like jealousy towards their daughter. And I see this a lot. Like I'm thinking the three closest women that are in my IRL life. Wait, four actually that are in my IRL life right now have all expressed this same sentiment to me. That essentially, yeah, like my mom will kind of like make fun of me or like say like, why are you going to the gym? You don't need to go to the gym again. Like they get kind of jealous of the fact that they have youth and the fact that they're, or at least that's what it seems like to me, that they're jealous of their youth. Have you guys noticed this as well?
What it is?
Or is this, yeah, what is it, Love? Tell us. Give us your female insight.
As I want to hear what Donna has to say though.
Okay, Dono.
Okay.
I want to hear his POV before I fill in the blank.
This is one of those. Actually, I think it's better that we get Dono's first because this is two male perspectives looking from the outside in, and then actually getting it. What it's like, you know what I mean? Like getting the actual answer.
I mean,
mansplain it to us, Dono.
You want me to explain it to the whole breakdown?
No, I want you to mansplain it.
Mansplain.
So lean back, do a little bit of man spreading. You know, maybe like put your arms like this while you talk, and then show your armpit sweat to the stream.
Yes. Oh God.
Oh my God, Tyler. Why are you so sweaty?
All
right, go ahead, Tom.
But I kind of can see where you're going with what you're saying, Tyler. Like I've noticed a little bit, not in my family, of course, praise God. I don't think my sister's even old enough for that though. So who knows? But I have noticed that there is like a hint of jealousy and kind of like vicariously living through not even just daughters but through children in general. But I don't know. That's kind of where I'm standing on it. Like, I have seen a little bit of it in the past, but that's kind of it. I'm not really paying attention too much, which is bad, I guess.
You know what I've just
I should pay more attention.
I just realized this is a common thread, and before Love says this, says her perspective, I just want to point this out. I'm thinking about the common thread behind like I was thinking, like, what's the difference between these women that I'm talking to and women that I've talked to before that haven't expressed that to me. One is closeness, right? Like, if you're not close to somebody, they're not going to tell you anything. But secondly is I've noticed just now, I just put like a commonality thread to all of them, is that all of these women are unemployed and don't have day jobs and don't have jobs at all. And so to me, I'm like, okay, is there like a hint of boredness there? Like, are they bored and they just want conflict because they're bored? So that's another thing that's in my head. But go ahead, Love.
Could be it.
So when it comes to mothers and, quote, hating on their daughters or hating on daughters in general or hating on the young girl down the block, yada, 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 is women have been kind of programmed to believe that their beauty is what defines them as being attractive or as them being worthy of a man.
Right. Like,
that's really what it comes down to, because you don't see that as much in same-sex couples. You don't see that jealousy factor in same-sex couples as much. You see it, but just not as common. So it's not only are they conditioned to believe that their outer beauty is what defines them and it is what makes them appealing to a man or whoever, it's also the fact that depending upon the age of, like, the age difference, that's a big one, because a mother in her 40s is going to be slightly jealous of her 18-year-old daughter who is growing. Right. Like, they look back on a I miss the girl I was type of scenario. It becomes that middle-aged, I'm home all the time, I need conflict, I need something to keep me going, my daughter and I are fighting all the time. And it's also a puberty thing. From the age of like 14 to the age of like 21, mothers and daughters do not get along. They just don't. And if they do, you're lucky. Like, you're really lucky to have that type of relationship. But it does come down to that simple factor of beauty. It comes down to beauty standards, and it comes down to a mother who is, again, in her 40s with a daughter that is 18 is going to be jealous, but a mother who's 36 with a daughter who's 18 who also works out and does things and keeps up on her appearance is much more loving, but they blur the line between mother and friend right. usually pretty heavily, and they wind up as more friend than mother, so their daughter does not respect them in the ways that they should.
God, that is a fucking complicated situation that you just laid out, but it is actually the truth. Like, I feel like that. You know, it's almost like, Donna, it's almost like we only see it from the outside. She saw it from the inside or something. It almost feels like that.
Know.
We should try mansplaining other things and see if she can set us straight on other things.
Listen, my mom had me when she was 20.
Yeah.
So we're not that far apart in age.
I was thinking about the age thing that you said. I wonder, because everybody that I'm thinking of, like all these examples, they're all of younger mothers, like you were saying. And so I think that it's like, I think there's something about, like, when you get to a certain age, and this is in men as well, like men have like midlife crisis, women have midlife crisis, and like I think part of the female experience of midlife crisis, because they have been conditioned societally to believe that looks are so important and everything like that, I think part of that is you have like the stages of grief with like the fact that you're not going to look the way that you want anymore, right? And I think that the stages of grief like happen, and the last stage of grief, at least I'm pretty sure, but whatever, for the sake of my point, just believe me when I say this, is acceptance. Like, you kind of accept the fact that it's done, and like there's nothing to do. So I think that like older mothers don't have that, you know what I mean? They're like, I've already accepted the fact that I'm never going to look young again, and I'm just like at the point where like I've naturally become older.
I'm just bitchy. Yeah. I'm just bitchy because I'm older.
Salty and
yeah, and that's the thing is like, so perfect example. My mother is 5'7". She's like 130 pounds if she's lucky. She weighs about a little more than I weighed before I got pregnant. So like, I constantly am on this fluctuation of, I miss who I was, but I'm okay with who I am. I miss who I was. I'm okay with who I am. It's just part of growing up. It's also part of the fact that I'm about to hit 30.
Right.
So 30 for women is huge. It's huge for women. And I try not to think about it because I don't want to conform to that stereotypical mindset of, oh my God, I'm 30. Oh my God, I'm 30. So when I had my last surgery, when they took out my last fallopian tube, they literally told me, the surgeon told me, he's like, we can have the plastic surgeon come in and flatten out your stomach because you are not going to ever look the way you did, because now you have 5 layers of scar tissue in 6 areas. So you're never going to be able to flatten your stomach out the way that you want, no matter how much you exercise, no matter nothing. Plastic surgery is going to be the only way that you'll be able to actually conform into a flatter shape. And I literally looked at him and I was like, I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care about how I look. At the end of the day, I was raised on the moral of, if you don't like it, don't fucking look. If you have a problem that I had a baby, I've had 3 surgeries, and I eat the best that I can with my high stress level and my jobs and blah, 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 then don't look at me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And like ultimately, what is somebody gonna say? You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna say? That's a good perspective, and I also like appreciate the fact that like how much it takes to just be accepting of yourself, because I struggle. Diet made a joke about it earlier, but I do struggle with that myself. Like I struggle with like you know, like looking at myself and being like, oh yeah, like looks really matter a lot. Like I have this weird thing where I can't disassociate looks, even though I know that they're not as important as like every woman I've ever fucking talked to is like, looks aren't that important, and I'm like, yes they are.
Yeah, but to us they're not, but to men they
exactly.
To men, a lot of the time
that's why there's that meme, Love, I don't know if you've heard it, but it'll be like men don't lift for women, they lift for other men. And
that's actually a true statement.
It's kind of true though.
Yeah.
Donald's like, no, that's the reality.
Yeah, big facts.
So really quickly, just to get a professional's opinion on this, I know this isn't his specific field of study or anything like that, but I'm sure that he's done some sort of a study on this, just like I have, even though I'm not a professional in either way, but I've just done studies on it. LARP said, especially if they have regrets lying in their past. And by lying in his past, it doesn't mean lying as in not telling the truth. It means like lying as in laying down. Lying in their past, a goal left unaccomplished, etc. They look back and see their daughter and all of this endless opportunity, and they feel like they no longer have that. Then the drinking starts, and that's where I come in. Exactly, like that's where the therapist comes in at that point. And I agree with that as well. Like that's something that I hadn't said. I hadn't said like out loud, but I was also kind of thinking but couldn't articulate properly, so I appreciate that thought.
Yeah, you see it a lot too, where mothers will push their daughters along a certain path,
right, to try to make them fall.
They would have wanted.
Right, like looking back, like I should have done this, and then they get upset if they don't do exactly what they're saying to do. Men do that with It seems like, from my perspective, and this is I think that like my dad, the ways that he pushed me down paths were the only things that he cared about. Were like things that were like he didn't care about what path I went down morally. He didn't care about what path I went down as far as like who I was gonna end up with, or like things that actually matter, right? Like the things that actually matter, he gave 0 fucks about. But everything that was superficial, he like felt like he needed to push me in a certain way that I think he wanted to go down himself. Like he wanted me to play certain positions in sports. He wanted me to like react a certain way to death or react a certain way to X, Y, and Z situations, right? But none of those were like, I think, beneficial. Like I don't know. I feel like it was kind of weird to see that the difference there. My dad only pushed me down the stairs.
And you're not wrong, Yurik. You're not wrong. Women will lift for other women just like men lift for other men. But women also lift for themselves.
I was about to say this is a fucking huge thing that I always hear, because Love knows this. Donna, I'm sure I've told you this before. I'm like huge on not letting like men objectify women in the gym. And one of the common sentiments that I hear from them whenever they're complaining to me like, hey, this person's fucking doing this or that, being shitty, is, you think that I fucking wore this for you to stare at me? No, I wore this because it makes me feel good. That's the way they'll say it. Whereas men, this is how a man will say it. And also, I think this is like male privilege versus like the female experience. But men will say, I wore this tank top because I look good. You know what I mean? Like they'll say I like the way it makes my arms pop and da da da. But women will say, because it makes me feel good to wear this. Like it makes me feel empowered, or it makes me feel whatever emotion or
comfortable. Like when you're working out, no offense, when you're working out, if you have titties, like working out with titties is actually really hard. So when we find like decent workout gear that holds our titties in place and it looks cute, we feel better about working out so that our titties aren't all over the place. Like, it's just the way titties work. Like,
yep.
stop.
And we stand titties here, so like, you know,
we stand titties here.
Big
Exactly.
facts.
I thought Dono was about to say big fat titties. That's what I thought he was about to say. But he said big facts.
I have a question, and again, you really don't have to answer, but you kind of do in like a weird way unless you're uncomfortable. Dono, have you ever had a girlfriend?
I have. It has been a very long time, but I have had a girlfriend before.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yes.
Can you go?
I know.
Into
I managed to pull it off somehow.
Dono, and
like you act like bitches are not into Pokemon. Like, hello.
I mean, facts,
wrong.
Facts. Let me.
Like, you're not wrong. Like, go to Pokemon Go channels on Facebook and shit. There's mad women in there.
Dono,
like, they're always looking for somebody to go hunt with them. My God.
What is your current? Dono, what is your current situation with looking for somebody to date? Like, what is your? Are you just kind of doing it in the background? Because like whenever I talk to Dono about like girls and whatnot, it seems to me that, and this is not a bad thing, by the way. Whenever I say this, like this is, and my ideas, my thought is he's got his priorities straight. Whenever he tells me this, like whenever Dono tells me this, I'm always like, yep, you're smart for doing that. Dono is like got so many fucking things going on that I'm like, if I had as many things going on as you, I'd be like, no, like if it happens, it happens, but I'm not going out of my way for fucking anything because I have to sit here and fucking go out of my way to do all these other things. Is that kind of where you're at, Donna, where you're just so busy with like work, life, school, and everything, and you don't really have time to like be actively looking for a girlfriend, but if it happens, you'll just go for it? Or what is your situation, if you want to talk about it?
For the most part, I will say yes. If whatever happens. I just finished watching Cowboy Bebop, but there'll be periods where I like get lonely in a sense, if you will, right? And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try to find some. I might like go out and like look a little nicer than I usually do because I am a very big believer in the graphic tee, jeans, and flip-flops look. California is great.
Love, right when you thought that I was the bottom tier of men's fashion, Dono comes in and takes that cake.
Saves the day.
We picked out Tyler's shirt.
This shirt that I'm wearing right now is the shirt they picked out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I just realized that. Yeah, because I brought Dono whenever we were in DC. I needed a shirt to go to a club, and I go, okay. I go upstairs because they're all upstairs. I go, which women want to come shopping with me? And 3 of them like come out of the room like, ah. I'm like, all right, let's go. Because I was like, I need women's perspectives or Jazzy, but Jazzy was busy. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be who we're gonna take.
Flip-flops, yes, flip-flops. There's nothing wrong with flip-flops.
I can't with the flip-flops.
I have to wear flip-flops
in
jiu-jitsu, and I hate it. I hate it every time I wear them.
Away from the beach.
Nice tennis shoes.
I mean, I wear Vans most of the time now.
Ooh,
but
Donna, when you oh my god, I just remembered whenever Inna said proof is on Snapchat, I need to look at your Snapchat, Inna, and then I need to look at fucking Larb's story. I forgot to look at that earlier, so I'm gonna look at this whenever Donna's answering this question. Not that I won't be listening to you, Donna. I will be doing it both. Addy really the limitless build for I can do both. But let me ask you this, Donna. This is a question that Yurik just asked, and I want to see what your perspective is, and I also want to know so first let me start with this question. Do you approach women like whenever you're out and about? If you see a woman that you're like, oh, you know what, I'm not assuming anything, but if you see somebody that you think is very attractive, are you going to go up to them and be like, hey, you're like spit game, or are you just gonna look the other way and kind of like let it go?
Probably not, because whenever I'm going out and doing something, I have an objective to accomplish. So like,
I feel like Dono is so goal orientated.
I like going back to what you said earlier. I don't actively look for relationships if I'm not in like feeling like I want to be in one, you know? Like I'm trying to go to Japan. Right. I have my job.
You've got stuff going
I
on.
have streaming. I have to go to work. I said work already, but I have school and like I had an essay, a report, and a speech that I had to do this last week. So I just it's a lot.
You don't have the mental capacity to be thinking I might need to ask one of these girls for the number. Firstly, Akeno, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 1. You know what's insane is Akeno comes in here from time to time, says hello and everything like that. She has been subscribed for 10 fucking months. That is insane to me. Like, I don't know if you saw me make a face while Donna was talking. It was because I read they've been subscribed for 10 months. I was like, what? I I was like, wait, how? Like, that's insane. But I appreciate that, Akeno. Like, holy shit, you've really been subscribed for 10 months. That's crazy. I appreciate that. Also, Akeno, I still need to get you on Girl Talk and/or No Strings Attached and/or both. So we will be in contact about that. We will be in contact about that. But thank you. I appreciate you. Also, hello, Akeno. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't talked to you in a while. So yeah, Dono. So like, let me paint a picture for you. In fact.
Okay.
Let's say you my friend are out and about. You're going. Let me think where Dono would be. You're at school. You have to go in for whatever reason. You have to go in for something, right? I don't know what. Like, because I don't think you actively are going in.
No, all my classes are online.
Is this impossible? Like, you would have to go in school. Would this be impossible?
No. Next semester I have online classes or in-person classes.
Okay. So we're talking about next semester. Then we're talking about you in the future. So you're a little wiser. Right, cool. You know what I mean? You're a little wiser too, along with this situation. So it's 1 year in the future. You're at school, and you're walking around campus, and you see this girl. And you know how like universities have like the outdoor sections, like a quad kind of area. It's in the quad situation. You're walking outside to the next building or whatever, and you see that there's a girl sitting at a table by herself. She's just kind of doing nothing. She's kind of just like looking around, or maybe she's looking at her phone or whatever. And she's like fucking like, you look at her and you're like, oh my god, like that's Dream Girl right there. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, like that's Dream Girl. Not enough to where it intimidates you away. I don't know what kind of guy you are with this kind of stuff. So like, not enough to where you're like, oh, I have no shot with this, but enough to where you're like, I have a shot with this woman, and also she's very beautiful, and she looks like you know how you can like look at somebody's face and like take a lot of information about how they are as a person in some cases. Like for example, the first time that I saw Love, like just in her eyes alone, I could be like, okay, she's an open person. I don't know what it is about her face, but there's something about her face, like she's an open person. She's going to be willing to talk about it a lot. And let's just say you look at this woman and you infer that she's nice. And you infer that, like, you know, there's like, oh yes, the old judge the book by its cover technique. Yes. So you look at them and you see a few like signs that this person, like, they're, in other words, this is a better way to describe it. Not even really their face, their vibe, like their energy that they're putting off is like, cause you know, like there's this other like sixth sense type thing that you can feel about somebody, right? And that is going off and telling you this is a nice person. She's confident. She's got a few things going for her, and she's really attractive. All right, fucking Jesus Christ, that was a long-winded situation.
That was a very long description. Yes.
You're not in a hurry. You know what I mean? You're just walking along. Do you walk up to her and say, hey, I think that you're beautiful. Can I get your number? Or do you say anything, or do you just keep walking?
I mean, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm not very good at talking to girls, so I probably would just keep walking.
No offense, I can confirm. I can confirm.
Thank you.
I can confirm
that. Thank you.
No, I mean that in like the most genuine way, because I, as an empath, can immediately just absorb the awkward vibe and kind of put people at ease. Whereas like you're not going to find that very often in another woman. You're going to either find somebody that's very like forward or very like, this guy's creepy. It's very hard to find somebody in the middle, where like when I first talked to Dono in DC, he was immediately like very clammy, like very short sentences, very like, like I
no direct eye contact.
What I'm doing. Yeah, no direct eye contact.
It's so funny because
he tried.
It's funny
he tried eye contact at first.
I can only have my experiences with Dono as a man, so I'm like, I never had this problem. I'm like, no, we always talk fine, even when we met in New York, DC. It was totally fine. It was like,
and that's just. I think that's Dono's personality, is he's just more reserved. So I think he needs a woman that's going to attempt to approach him first, so that he knows that wall is kind of like broken. Because then it's like, oh, she wants to talk to me. That's kind of cool. But I feel like he's also going to be the specimen that's also like, does she actually want to talk to me or no? Like, is she like, what does she really want? Like, it's very confusing. Women are very confusing creatures, but I can see where it would be like, if a woman were to approach Dono and they were to like hit it off, he'd probably like go to coffee first. They'd probably hang out a couple of times, and then eventually it would probably work into like maybe a relationship. But I don't think he could go for a girl that's too aggressive. Like, he would need a girl that's like that happy medium between aggressive,
chill but outgoing kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like a tomboy almost.
Now let me counterpoint to Love's point. And this isn't so much about Dono as it is just the general population. on average, and I think that we can all agree upon this. It's one of those things. It's not nice to say out loud, but it's true. on average, if you are a good looking woman who's like got their shit together and everything, one, you're going to be more confident than average, right? Like that's just how it goes with anybody who's good looking. They're just a lot of times will be more confident. But either way, regardless, a pretty woman, why the fuck would she feel the need to go up to somebody else? Like she gets approached 24/7. There's no need for her to do it. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like what we were talking about with Tinder. Love, remember whenever we were like, well, they have all the options. Like there's no, like the cards are on their table.
Yes.
And on average, less women are going to come up to men than men are going to come up to women.
That's a very true statement. But as the generations have gone forward, women are becoming more comfortable approaching men too. Like they're not comfortable to a certain extent, but if you're out in like the quad at school and you're chilling, like reading or like playing Pokemon or whatever, if you find a type of Dono, I'm so serious. When I went to college, I spent my in-between class periods going from the Yu-Gi-Oh table to the daycare center that held my son 4 times a day when I was in college.
Bro,
and
can you imagine?
You would not believe how many women were at the Yu-Gi-Oh table. It only takes one woman to be there for multiple women to start like being like, oh, that's cool. Like, cool. Somebody else is into this. I don't have to be so shy about it, blah, blah, blah. And then that's how you meet people at college, is like, that's genuinely how it happens. You'd be surprised.
Wait, what do you think is cap Yerk? Firstly, what up, swag? But like, love, like, firstly, I feel like that's a unicorn, what you just described. And a unicorn, if people don't know,
facts.
a unicorn is something that's like almost too good to be true kind of vibe. Yeah. Like, I swear to God, if I saw a woman that was as pretty as Love is, and they were going from the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh table, I would cut off my hand. Like to get to them. I would cut off an arm to make myself lighter to get to them faster. Like I would be like, like hurry before somebody else gets there. Like I gotta get over there right now. There's no ring on that left finger. Oh Jesus! God. Like yeah. All of a sudden, I'm a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh master. I am a fucking genius. I've been watching. I can feel the heart. I'm walking up to her and saying, I'm gonna say, are you Exodio? Because I feel the heart of the cards. Can I get your number? And I'm panting because I'm so tired from running over there. That's literally what I'm doing. That's the unicorn, is it not? Black magician, am I right? Yeah, exactly, bro, exactly. I feel like that's a thing that isn't as common. And Akeno said, I will say that women start being confident approaching men when they get in their early 20s. I agree. To a degree, but here's my thing is I feel like it's either way, no matter what you guys have said. Like both of you have brought up good points. I think that you're right. It is more common. And thank you for the cheap 6ix9ine. But I think that even if it is more common than it used to be, the ratio is still much more swayed in I don't know if you'd say for or against women, but in the way of women not approaching men as much as men approach women to a huge degree. Like it's still like a huge degree. So in other words, the likelihood that a woman will approach you at all is much higher than it used to be. But the likelihood that a woman that is like very, very attractive to you in particular, like whatever your standards are, like whatever your type is, the likelihood that a woman of your standard and that you would like to date is going to come up to you is not high. It's very low.
That is
0 times anything is still 0, my friend.
Wait, Dono, have you never had a woman approach you?
I have never had a woman.
Do you want me to tell you what it is, Dono? I can 100% tell you, and I bet Love is going to agree with me.
It's the jeans and the flip-flops.
No, it's fine.
I wasn't gonna say that, but here's what
a good example, but no, that's not.
I kind of said, I agree, because by the time women start being confident in approaching men, true. And also, by the way, the older that women get, the more cuffed they are on average as well. Like the more they're in a relationship already, you know what I mean? So by the time they have that confidence, they might already be in a relationship. But you know what it is, Donna? It's this, and I had this too. So this is how I know that it's you, or what it is. I'm
actually about to send you a photo, Tyler, by the way.
Oh, on text or what?
Over Discord.
Okay.
Over Discord.
So here's the thing. If you have closed off isn't quite the right word, but your vibe that you give off to the opposite sex is like, I don't necessarily want to talk to you. You know, like it's like the vibe that you're putting off, since like what you said, what you described is I'm always doing something. Like I'm always like, oh God, I gotta go and do this thing. You know what I mean? Because this is what happened to me, Donna. This is how I know this. Whenever I was in a relationship, when you said that, I was like, I thought in my head, I thought exactly how I used to be whenever I was in a relationship. Because whenever I was in a relationship, every interaction that I had with women out in the public was very transactional. I'm here to buy something. I'm here to do this. I'm here to do, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm here to fucking flirt with you. You know what I mean? I'm here to do that. And so, which I think was also a really closed off mindset. Firstly, just to like say, like, now I know, like,
just to touch on that. Yeah.
Just now I know that you don't have to make that, like, you don't have to be fucking, you know, annoyingly, like, you know, binary or like robotic with women. If you're in a relationship, you can have friends as you know what I mean. Like, I just realized that now.
Yeah,
like,
you can be friendly without being a fucking ding dong.
Yeah. Like, I didn't realize that until I was like out of a relationship. Then I'm like, oh, I have so many female friends that I don't want to fuck all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, you can just be friends with them.
Yeah, these are so
They're just
nice.
people, aren't they? You know, like, but yeah. So your energy is transactional. I'm here to get this transaction done and to move on. If your energy was, I'm open to talk, because right whenever I became single, Dono, I went from women almost never approaching me, like very, very rarely approaching me, to like, not all the time, obviously, like we said, like the number's still not high, but like I have, like, I think since I became single, which has been about a year now, I've probably had like 7 or 8 women total like approach me and be like, hey, like, what's your name? Can I get your number? Like that kind of stuff. And so I think that is the difference. And also, hi Shelby, how are you doing? I'll approach anyone for something casual, but in a romantic way, nah.
Listen,
Sophie, and I'll get to this after, by the way. Sorry.
I definitely feel like it does come down to like me being a unicorn, but I do know there's other unicorns in existence. Like, I've seen them.
Right.
Unicorns usually travel in packs, as weird as that sounds. Thank you for the bot, Tyler. I think it's literally just like, I am a unicorn, so other unicorns are in my space too, because I'm one of those women that's like, oh, you're kind of cute. Let me like poke. Let me figure out a way to talk to you. But
poke.
I also, yeah, like, but I'm also like,
I'm sorry, that was just so cute. I couldn't get past it.
Literally,
poke.
literally, Tyler, you have seen me flirt with women. I hate to put it this way because it makes me sound like a player, but I am a godsend when it comes to flirting with women.
You know what I just thought whenever you said, what I thought you were going to say, because this is my thought, I thought you were going to be like, I'm effective. Because that was the first word that came to my head.
Woman.
I'm like, yeah,
I'm a good wing woman, and I am a godsend when it comes to flirting with women. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I think it's really just because I'm very free, and I'm very like, if I like you, I'm really going to tell you that I would like to get in your pants, please. Thank you. Ticket for one.
Yeah, she's so open to that I was actually very offended that she never said anything like that to me. I'm like, damn, I guess I'm fucking disgusting.
Oh my God, stop. I just sent Tyler a picture.
Okay, love. If I saw this woman at the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh table, I would be
I'm gonna send it to you.
Quick.
That is me in college. That is an actual like college photo.
I would be. I think I expressed myself what I would do, and that's what I would do. Okay. You know what I mean?
So this is me.
I'd be crazy. I'd be like,
I'm gonna send you 2 photos. I'm gonna send you 2 photos. I'm gonna send you a photo of my face as I was sitting at the table, and then what was in front of me at the table.
Okay.
Kenno, I don't know if you're gonna be able to. Like, there's not a lot of people that aren't subbed right now. Because I just got a bunch of gifted subs just the other day. Yeah, Dono, tell me that you wouldn't be like, your reaction would be like, no way, she actually likes Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, you'd be like, no way.
Fucking rarity. We're talking like shiny Pokemon.
Yeah, shiny Pokemon, okay? Exactly. Bro, love, you're a shiny Pokemon for real, love.
For real.
Am I a shiny Vulpix though? But I want to be.
Diet, thank you for the 101 bits. Me and Tyler are no longer friends. And it's your fault. No, it's not.
I genuinely, and I get that, but also like when I was in college, I think I was the domino, because after I started sitting at the table, there were more girls. That
you were the start of the
trend.
Like
there was more people that were like, oh my God, I like this stuff too, and nobody's being weird. This is so great. But I'm also one of those people that doesn't stand for any of that weird shit.
Right.
Like,
so
Tyler,
you know
me.
Too.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly. Like, if you're being weird, I'm gonna tell you you're being weird.
When you think about it, love is really just me in female form for real. Let's talk about it. Firstly, thank you, Cosmic Creed, for the 5 gifted
Except
subs.
for my game with the ladies, it's a little higher.
It actually is. That's not a joke. I unironically cannot argue with you on that point. Like I would be just lying if I tried. But Cosmic Creed, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, community. I appreciate it. Kenno, thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate that as well, Kenno. All the support for 10 months, and now this, you're a legend.
But I have to say that it does boil down to your transactional kind of responses, and I think that's part uncomfortability with women and like as a whole, because women are scary, because I feel that same way sometimes. If there's a woman that's like, I can look at her and I'm like, is she gonna beat my ass if I say this, or is she gonna try to fuck me?
Or is she gonna try to beat my ass while she's fucking me?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
which is the best of both worlds, we all know.
I'm approaching the situation a little bit more robotic and a little bit more cautious.
Yes, right.
Whereas, like, if I know this person already and I'm like, oh yeah.
Firstly, I can't imagine you being robotic, so I think more cautious is just the better way to describe that, because I literally can't imagine love being robotic.
You have no idea. If it is a woman that I know can out-dominate me, I become insta-sub bitch. Like, it's gone. All my swagger, out the window.
Dono, isn't that your mom that she just gifted a sub to?
What?
TK Lady Leto?
What? No.
Oh, I thought that. You know what's crazy is whenever that person followed, I was like, "That's Dono's mom," and I never verified that with you. I just assumed this entire time.
Dono's like, "Excuse me, that's not my mom."
Like, there's no way. I was like, "My mom doesn't even know what Twitch is." Let's be real.
Oh, thank you so much again.
We would also have to delete this volume.
Yeah, literally. Big Dell, thank you for the 5 gift subs. You got big stuff in that one. Let's go. Love to see it. Thank you, Big. I think that is so fucking funny that I just genuinely thought that was your mom. That was not a joke, Donna. I thought that was your mom the entire time. There was one time where she was actively chatting in chat, and I was like, "This is Donna's mom. I got to be really nice and act like I'm not a piece of shit." Like I was like, "Don't talk about anything sexual. Just talk about regular shit." Like,
oh my god,
that's crazy.
The only person you might see on your streams, which I will say now for everyone watching, if you see this person in there, I'm sorry. It's Dad Hates Anime on Twitch. So that's funny. That's my dad.
I love Donna's dad, bro. I
feel like I've seen them somewhere.
He pops into my chat very occasionally.
We had a slight,
that's probably where I've seen
me and Donna's dad had a slight beef on Twitter at one point, but we have rekindled our relationship and are friends again. Thank you, Cosmic Creep, for the 200 bits. Appreciate it. But yeah, so okay, the second part of the question, I forgot that there was a second part of this question because we got so distracted whenever Love said that she fucking went to a Yu-Gi-Oh table, and I was like, shut the fuck up, no you didn't. Like you did not look like that and hang out at the Yu-Gi-Oh table.
I showed you what I was doing.
Dono, I want to hear your perspective, and then I want to hear Love's perspective on what you think, even if you don't do it, what you think would be the top 5 the top 5 places to go get a woman's number. Like what would you think, or like at least approach a woman? Like I was gonna say to pick up women, but I think that's honestly just so misogynistic that I like took a step back before I said it. So where's the top 5 places to ask a woman for their number or whatever? LARP, I agree with you. That's one of my number ones.
You're asking the wrong dude.
I know, but I want to know what you think. No, that's why I want to know, Dono, because I want to know what your preconceived notion is without like having done it. You know what I'm trying to say? Creed, thank you for gifting a sub to Zik. Appreciate it, bro. Legend. Big Dick. That sounded like I said Big Dick, but I didn't. All right, Dono, what do you do? Thank you for typing.
Wow. Okay. Let's. Didn't know this was going to be. Do you
want me to come back to you, Dono?
Sure.
Firstly,
let me give me some time to think.
Dono's like, please don't come back.
You can come back or not. No. Firstly, before we get to Love's answer, because I feel like Love's just going to have the right answer. Like I feel like Love's about to just say the right answer. But you know what was my first? It was funny that LARP said this. You know what my first thought whenever I became single was, and I don't know if I ever described this to you, Love. This is so fucking sad whenever I think back this time. But like, oh god, this is so fucking.
Spent a lot of time in a bookstore.
This is sad. So basically, my thought was this. I started thinking about the types of women that are at bookstores, and I made like a psychoanalysis description of the types of women that would be at bookstores, or really just types of people that would be at bookstores in general. And I was like, those are the types of qualities that I would like in a partner. Then I was like, I hate talking to women since I became single, because I had this weird thing where I had phases. So like whenever I was younger, no problem talking to women, never thought of it. Like I would talk to fucking any woman anytime, didn't give a fuck. I would ask out women, get rejected like 90 times in a day and not even lose a fucking ounce of sleep, be totally fine. Like I didn't give a fuck. I cannot thank you for 300 bits. And then whenever I became single, again, because I went from every like conversation for 7 years being very transactional, having only one female friend, and my entire like time during that time I had one female friend, and it was her best friend. That was my entire experience. And so I had no experience with talking to women anymore. Like I lost all of that, right? And so I I would start going to the bookstore, and I would force myself to go to the bookstore, and I would force myself to talk to women, not necessarily just in the bookstore, but like if I thought that a woman was attractive, or I thought that a woman like had like whatever quality that I would see in her where I'm like, oh, I like that, I would force myself to talk to them. And it was one thing that I realized is if I thought about it for more than 5 seconds, I wouldn't do it. The second that I had the thought, I had to go boop and just like beeline towards them and ask them, and obviously not in a creepy way. I would not fucking like sprint at them or anything, but I would literally like, as soon as I had the thought of like, oh, I'd be like, if it's appropriate to walk up to this person, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? I would just go up and walk to them. So I spent every single week, I would go to the bookstore at least once. I would force myself to go to the bookstore. Abdel, thank you for giving 3 subs to the community. Appreciate it. I think that, we got Patat on that one. I think we got to 100% on that one. Let's go. Level 5. Thank you guys. But yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to go to the fucking bookstore, and I would, like what Larb said, get those reps in, and I would fucking talk to people, and not just women, I would also talk to men, because I was just lonely in general for real. And so I would talk to men, women, but I would approach women and try to get them to be like see something in me that would be like nice, and then if I could do that, then I'd be like, hey, can I get your number? And if the vibe was wrong, I would just say, no, I'm good. I'll just walk off. But if if the vibe was there, I would ask for their number. Now, love. Having said all of that, tell us where the right place is. Tell us where the 5 right places are.
There's no right place. I hate to be that guy. There's not. It's really situational, and it's very much so if you feel that it's going to be a positive experience. Like, you really have to put it in perspective as to where you are, what you're doing. Because honestly, when I go to the bookstore, I have flirted with many people at the bookstore. I literally met an ex-girlfriend at the bookstore. Like, I've done that train, and it's great, and it's fine, and I love the bookstore for it. But I'm also going to the bookstore because, bitch, I want to be at peace.
Yeah.
There's something about the bookstore that's just peaceful.
Comforting. Yeah, it's like comforting.
Yes.
It's nice.
Don't approach me if I'm in my comfort space.
And that's something.
And the bookstore is my comfort space.
This is the thing that I would do, love. I would look at their like body.
Always look at what books they're touching. Always look at the section that they're in and what book is in their hand. Always.
Ty said Tyler was lonely and never hit me up. He's a fake friend. And I said, sorry, I was looking for a female partnership. And he said, I can tuck.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
No, but it's so fucking dumb. But oh my god. But no, hold on.
I don't think there's any one right place.
So Love just said something that was always on my mind. Creed, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. That's my best impression because my shit doesn't work right now. So thank you, Creed. Appreciate it, bro. I appreciate all your support, Creed, and everybody else. Thank you for keeping us on this level 5 hype train. This is crazy. But yeah, seriously, Diet. But Love, you said this, and it was almost in passing when you said it. So I just want to really fucking highlight what you just said. She said 2 things that are very important, especially if you're a guy listening to this, because guys, I've noticed this in a lot of guys. They have fucking no concept of when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate to approach women. That's the first thing. But really quickly, the more superficial thing that you said, which I think is also so important, is she said, look at what book they are looking at. What section are they in? Oh, yeah. Love, hit it out of the park. Love just fucking hit a home run. Yeah. Love just hit a grand slam, because look at this. Hear me out. Firstly, you can see what they're interested in on a mental level, right? Like if they're at the manga section of Barnes and Noble, it's over, boys. Like I'm going in for the kill if they look like they're approachable at all. Like
Dono's gonna walk out of here and be like, I need to go to the bookstore.
I always go to the bookstore.
We look over at Dono and he's writing notes.
Manga section.
I'm looking for Slime Volume 1 because
we have one here. If it's still available at the bookstore here, I'll go grab it. Yeah. And
Big Del, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. We got El Morty. Let's go. And Dark Alliance is one of my friends.
That time I got reincarnated, right?
Because they only have Volume 2 over here.
Creed with the 10K bets. Let's go.
We don't have Volume 6 or Volume 8.
You can't find Volume 6 of anything. Not Boruto, not My Hero Academia.
Yeah, I can't find 6. But I think they still have a 1 over here. I'll go look. Sorry, sidetracked. My bad.
So, Dono, stop trying to get out of this. No. but
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But no, so the other thing, the more important thing out of the 2 things that Love said, I think, really, I don't really want to even put a value judgment on it. Because I think that both are actually really important, but I think one of them is far more important as far as not being creepy. Like, because this is the problem with guys. it's very easy to look creepy and be inappropriate. And Suffian says, is it appropriate until proven inappropriate, or inappropriate until proven? I don't think the same logic applies. I think there is a spectrum of what people think is appropriate and inappropriate, but I think generally as societally we've kind of defined those things, right? But so going back to the more important of the two things, at least seemingly, I don't know if I really want to even put a value on it, because I can see so much utility in like looking at the book that they have and being like, damn, like she's looking at some romance novels. Like, what does that mean? Because you might accidentally like think something that's not right. You know what I mean? Which is why. But anyways, the other one, not being, thank you for shouting out, Dono, not being a fucking creep. This is something guys struggle with so much. So what Love said was, when I'm at the bookstore, I'm there for peace. Well, guess what? That applies to a lot more than the bookstore. There are, this is the way that I look at it. If I see that somebody is, and this applies to if I'll talk to anybody. This is not just like if I'm approaching a woman to get their number or whatever. For example, this is the easiest example for me to give because I go to the gym a lot, right? If I go to the gym and you have not looked at me this entire time, we've had no moments where we've like met eye contact, you're clearly focused on your workout, you are in there working on yourself, you're not looking around. No, I don't approach you. If we have spent like 3 times where we're like exchanging smiles and stares and like kind of looking at each other, and then I catch you when you're not in the middle of a set, then I can approach you and I can say, hey, I just saw that I saw you from across the gym. I just thought you were really pretty, whatever. Or my favorite, this is the best case scenario. This has happened to me a handful of times. This is best case scenario in the gym. If you're in the sauna and they're not like, and they're not like inherently like, if they're in the sauna and again, they're staring at their phone and they're clearly not wanting to talk to anybody, they have their earbuds in, don't. But every time that I go in the sauna, I take one of my earbuds out just in case there's somebody I want to talk to, male or female, because there's a lot of people that I like to talk to at the gym, but I don't talk to them on the gym floor. I only talk to them in the sauna. So if I go into the sauna, she doesn't have her earbuds in, and she's like clearly like been looking at me out on the gym floor, and I've caught her a few times and we've caught each other. Like she's caught me looking at her, vice versa, like that. Then I'm like, hey, what's your name? Like that. Like, I'll just start talking to them and see. But that's the rule of if it's appropriate or not to me. Do they look open? Catch the vibe. Do they look open to a conversation or do they not? If they don't look open to a conversation, don't do it.
That's the key. And you'll notice the slight changes in the person you're talking to. Their shoulders will relax. They'll make eye contact with you. Those are the first 2 that happen when somebody is receptive to you being in their space. And yes, I did say that's my comfort space, leave me the fuck alone. But Yurik said something that, yes, most people in their comfort space are a little bit easier to approach because they are existing in a comfortable area.
That's a really good point.
It's not me walking to to my car at 9 o'clock at night and you want to have a conversation.
That is worst case. Never follow somebody.
Never approach a woman at night either.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah, no.
Please don't do
Unless
that.
You're
even
at a bar.
if she looks even if she looks receptive, like if she's out like on the sidewalk, don't approach her at night.
That'd be scary.
Unless you're kind of like trying to do a good deed and you're like, are you okay? Do you need somebody to walk you to your car? Like I've had people do that for me. Like coming out of college, I used to take night courses, so I wouldn't get out until like 10 o'clock at night sometimes. So there would be guys like in the quad or in the lounge and they would be like, are you walking to your car? Like, do you want somebody to walk with you? Or, oh, I've seen you here the last 4 Wednesdays. It's dark out now because the sun sets at fucking 5 p.m. and it's fucking pitch black by 11. So they'll walk me to my car. Like those are cute instances where you can actually potentially meet a partner by asking simple questions like that.
Love, and tell me if this is just
really
me.
Creepy.
Love, tell me if this is just me on that point that you just said. By the way, I think Di had a really good point that I actually do want to read. But you just said this and it just made me realize this. I would feel this way. So if I were to help and anytime this happened, this is what I do. Whenever I am doing something, the only word that this sounds self-aggrandizing, but like the only word that I can think of is like chivalrous for a woman. I think it's entirely inappropriate to ask them for their number or like to try to do anything in that instant. Because then it seems like I'm doing something like it seems like, oh, did you just help me so you get my number? You know what I mean? And I don't want to feel like that.
Yeah, not like that. But like I said, like people would walk me to my car at the quad. People would like.
So in other words, what you're saying is it opens up the dialogue. Right. Okay.
Yeah, like open the dialogue in like a chivalrous way.
I misunderstood
like,
what you meant.
I hate to use the word chivalry because like that's such a weird word.
It's antiquated.
But It's very antiquated. But yeah, like if you are holding the door for the same girl at the elevator every day in your apartment building
Strike up a
and you
small
say
talk.
hi,
Yeah.
start triggering small talk. Then be like, hey, I'm from 4C, like, I don't know where your apartment is, but, like, if you ever want to come hang out, like, I'm down here, like, I live with my roommate or whatever. Like, I've literally seen scenarios like this, and they seem so, like, out of the box, and they seem so, like, implausible to people, but, like, these are real-life scenarios that actually happens. Like, what do you think books and movies are based off of? They're not common by any means, but they can happen. Like, there's literally, like, I had 2 friends in college who are now married with 2 children, and they love each other very much, but the way they started talking was he literally shook the vending machine for her every time her chips got stuck.
Ah, that's so fucking cute. First,
like,
hold on,
and it's fucking adorable, and they're wonderful, and I love them as people. Like, they're so cute.
Hold the goddamn
But she was also a very shy, nerdy girl, and he was a very shy, nerdy dude. But like, he saw the opportunity and he took it. Like, you just have to take the right moment, and you as men will know the right moment, but some of you know the wrong moment, and I'm not gonna name no names, but like, for the love of fucking God.
I just think it's important to like verify or like to point that out. But I think that the situation that you've described, Love, and by the way, sorry for misunderstanding your point. I guess it's not. I'm actually not sorry for misunderstanding your point, because people make mistakes. All right, like
clarification.
So
clarification was needed. It's okay.
I completely misread diets. I didn't know this was a joke. I thought that. I literally read the first few words of Diet's thing and thought that he had a good point.
I read the whole thing and I was like,
and then I realized now that he's memeing. So I'll read it now, but just I'll tell you what part I was talking about whenever I said this is a good point. He said, make friends with them, then become emotionally attached to them, create a false sense of romantic intent in yourself, then push the ideal on them, and when you go to ask them out, get friend zone. So what I thought he said, because I literally just read the first few words and was like, Diet's making a good point, because he wouldn't have written that and then like written a long paragraph if he wasn't making this point. This is what I thought the point that he was making. That's so funny. I thought the point that he was making, and this is I think Love's point also conforms to this, right? If you are constantly like, if you're ending up in a situation where you're seeing somebody on a daily basis, right? If you're like,
or even semi-regular,
yeah, or like 3 times a week, 2 times a week, whatever. If you're seeing them semi-regular or regular,
I'd say 3 times a month is probably like the minimum semi-regular.
Because then that's when you start remembering somebody. You know what I mean? When you see them that often. But I think that anything less than that, you're right. You probably just think of them as a stranger. But if you've gotten to that point where you're no longer a stranger, as in they know what your face looks like and they remember you and everything like that, then I think that's the point where you start becoming a friend first, and then you become romantically involved after, which was something that, like,
sometimes.
By the way, I struggled with this so much whenever I first became single. Like, I like cringe so fucking hard whenever I look back at my first interaction with so many women that now are my friends, because like I literally thought that like there was, because like I was so like, I'd only ever been in a relationship, right? Like I hadn't been single in my adult life. And so in my mind, I was like, and I hadn't came to the conclusion that you could be friends with women. Like I still wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? I was still kind of in that weird, like weird space. And and so I had this like weird mindset where I'm like, yep, if you talk to a woman, you pretty much have to like ask them out or like tell them that you like them in a romantic way. Like that's the only interaction that you could have. And so I had these horrible like weird interactions with people, because it was like, because like now I see the utility. There's so much utility in becoming friends with somebody first and learning about them and learning who they are. And wait, you can be friends with women? Exactly, that was me. So I think that was the that was like the turning point for me, is like realizing, oh, this is a very effective way to like if something is going, I think this, if you become friends with somebody but keep the door open, then if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it's not, then it's not. You know, that's fine. Either way. So I think that is a fun, good way to do it. And then also Tite said, there's no issue with asking somebody for their number. The issue comes from you being aggressive or insistent with it, or being like weird and like pushy about. One other thing is, never, ever. This is the most bitch move that you can do. And if you're my friend and I ever would see this happen, I would smack you in your fucking face if I saw you do this. Never, ever have any reaction other than, okay, that's fine, if they say no. If they say no and they don't want your number, they don't want your fucking number. Just be like, oh, no problem, sorry for asking, walk off. You're good. Don't ever react negatively. Even if they react negatively, do not react negatively. That's such a fucking bitch move. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, and let's also touch on the fact, don't touch somebody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Never touch somebody.
How do you establish physical contact to see if they're comfortable with you? You don't.
You wait. You wait until that barrier has dropped, because honestly, the amount of men that have touched the small of my back, like allowing me through a door, very annoying. The amount of men that have like guided me by like my shoulder and stuff, very annoying.
Love,
like,
chill,
don't
chill
touch
out,
my bubble.
Chill out with that very annoying talk. You should say sexual harassment for real. Like it's not even just annoying. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
You gotta remember, I was raised in like a different time, so like seeing, like, I literally hung out at like a gun club with a bunch of old dudes.
See, but
like,
what you don't understand is that Texas is
also
in the
still
past.
creepy.
Texas is 25 years behind the rest of the world. So, well, I actually grew up in a time before you, technically. Yeah. And so I've seen all of what you're describing. I had a bunch of sisters growing up, and I know, like, I've seen all of this happen.
Don't touch me.
And so I think this, so like, as somebody, and Love is like this too. Love and I are both really touchy individuals, but with our friends, like not with people that I don't know. Like, and actually with my friends that are like, for example, dude, I gave you one blowjob diet and you fucking talk about it 24/7 now. It's like, goddamn. But no, so basically, if like you're somebody like
Dono,
me,
you want to circle back to that?
It's okay.
Dono's
we can keep going.
Donna's like, that's crazy. You didn't even offer me one.
No.
You were too young, Donna. If you were 21, maybe. But no. But like, I think this. If you are like me and your love language is physical touch, right? Like that's your first thing, right? This is the thing. You don't get to touch, like, if you're approaching a woman, you don't get to touch them until it's 100% clear, like until it's like we've either had this conversation or like they've said before in passing, like, yeah, like I my love language is physical touch, and and y'all have become close and gotten to that point. Then, but if you guys aren't at that point, don't touch somebody. Nobody.
Don't touch me.
Diet is also pointing out the fact that I'm being a complete hypocrite, because he said, I tried to shake Tyler's hand whenever I first met him because I'm no touch king, and the motherfucker just comes up to me and hugs me. I was too excited. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I was just too fucking excited. I was like, dude, this is this guy that I've been talking to for fucking a year. I'm so excited to see him. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, like I actually didn't hug Dono until like he left. I think I hugged him when he left in the Uber. That was when I hugged him.
Now,
established connection, hugs were given.
Yes, exactly. So Dono really thought that he got away with that without answering the top 5 places to ask.
Oh my God.
I know that we haven't talked about that, but this entire time I've been thinking, Dono, I know that you think in your head right now, you're thinking, got away with that one. I'm so happy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What would you think?
But
and you can't steal Love's answer at this point. So what would you think?
I can't.
No, you can't. I'm making that rule.
But I feel like I've learned a lot in our conversation. I can't implement
So
the skills and things that I've been taught. No.
So here's my question. That's the question I was trying to ask. Not in a creep context. Oh no. Yeah, no. I think that the reason why it comes off in a creep context is because that's whenever you see it the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the question that Yurik was actually trying to ask, and just to clarify, this is not Yurik saying, "Can I just touch somebody off the bat?" So Yurik, I do apologize if it came off that way, because that's not what I was trying to do. I think what the question that Yurik was actually trying to ask was like, at what point, like, how do you know when you can touch somebody? I think that's really more of the
established connection. Yep. Have that talk.
And you'll know.
Talking is the best way to establish too. Honestly, like Tyler and I talked before Otakon, and we were like, nope. Insta hugs, like, we don't care.
Love and I's conversation was essentially like there is no off, like, there's no off limits, like you can't like if you come up to me and like, if you want, like, if we're walking around the convention and you're like, I want to hold your hand, I will just be like, yeah, sure, like, I won't care, you know what I mean? There's nothing that you could do to me that I'd be like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's not the intention. It's not like their intention to be a creep. They think of it as, okay, do you think that, or do you think that, like, because oftentimes whenever I see that kind of sentiment, I always think that is just them trying to give themselves an explanation that doesn't sound as, like, gross. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thought. What up, Sin? How you doing, bro? That's my thought. So, like, I think that sometimes they actually are just, like, a product of their environment. But I think that if it's a situation where they're saying, like, oh, this is just Southern hospitality, I'm always, like, questioning their intention. Like, I'm always like, well, is that actually Southern hospitality, or are you just a fucking creep and you're trying to get, like, a reason? You know what I mean? No, because women do it as well. Oh, that's a good point. That's a solid point, actually, Keno. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, like it's literally
South,
just
yeah.
like a weird Southern hospitality, and I put this in air quotes, Southern hospitality, because like, no offense, like the super old ladies that call you like baby or whatever, I'm just like, you're killing my vibe.
Yeah.
I like that you're very sweet and like you're very friendly, but for me, that's no.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Keno did just like totally change. That was one of those cases, Love. Do you ever have those situations where you feel pretty strongly about an opinion and then somebody sways you in like half a second? That was one of those. Like, I was like pretty sure that I was right about what I was saying, and then Keno goes, "No, because women in the South do it as well." I'm like, "Fuck."
Yes. I've had those situations. Yeah,
like,
but she's right. It is like a male and female. There is no discrimination on who does it. It's just like, it's weird, and it's also like, I was pregnant in the South. I was pregnant in North Carolina when I first started like showing pregnancy status, before I came home, and people inherently feel the
like
need
they can
to
touch you.
your space.
Yes.
And you're like, no. Like, I don't know how many times I slapped somebody's hand away from me and was like, please don't touch me.
Agree. Yeah.
Like,
and that I've seen that a lot
from New
in the
York,
South
so
too.
I sound different, and they're like, oh, you're not from here, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Don't touch me.
Bro, I've seen that so much that it became normalized for me too. Like I didn't like go. I would never just go up to a pregnant person and touch them, because honestly, like I was, especially whenever I was younger, I was so afraid of like touching. Like I was so afraid of like hurting somebody who was pregnant that I was like, I'm not even gonna fucking touch you. Like I was like, when my mom was pregnant, I was afraid to hug her. I was like, I don't want anything to happen. Like I don't want to actually bump into you or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't wanna. And I'm a fucking lanky teenager. Like I'm just falling all over the place already. Like I can't
like,
trust.
You don't know where your body is.
I'm like I can't trust myself to walk the 7 feet that is required to get to you to hug you. You know, like it's not worth it. They be hitting on women, acting like they're just being friendly. That's another thing that I see a lot, but that's not even just the South though. So that's everywhere.
That's
bro.
that's everywhere.
That reminds me of when. And by the way, Dono, I'm excusing you, bro. I still don't think I forgot. I just want you to know I didn't forget, but I'm excusing, because I think Love's point was so good that we don't really need to go into it anymore, right?
Yeah, we don't need my crappy and very uneducated opinions.
So there's two perspectives of this point, and I want to really dive into this point because this is a fucking good point that Sin just brought up. And then Yurik brings up the other point, the other side of the spectrum.
Yes.
So there's two sides.
Coin.
There's two sides of the spectrum, right? There's one. Okay, Sin, we were just talking in context of the South, so I didn't know if you were saying like that's a Southern thing. So one is the way that Sin is saying it, which is the way that I dealt with it most. That was like whenever I was in a relationship, like the way that I would see it the most would be people DMing my girlfriend and being like, wow, I really like your X, Y, and Z thing, and I would know that person specifically, and I'd be like, they don't actually give a fuck about your X, Y, or Z thing. They just want an excuse to talk to you. That's all that is. Then on the flip side, I have experienced me just trying to be friendly to a woman and then be like, oh my god, this guy's trying to hit on me, and I'm like, I'm not trying to hit on you at all. Like I'm just trying to be nice. Like I don't know. And so that is a concept that I want to dive into. So Dono, have you ever experienced either side of that? Have you ever seen it go either way?
Oh, many a time, especially the previous, I don't know the opposite of the latter, but the previous example with like guys pretending to be very friendly and like trying to get in a lady's good graces, I will say, but with malicious intent. It is a very problematic situation. I personally have never done so, and if I have, I'm sorry. I don't think that was like the actual thing that I was going for.
I think then you fall into the second category, right? Like I think you fall in the second category. Have you ever had that happen though, where you've been like you've been like oh hey, and then they're like, I have a boyfriend. It's like
it's like not, like I think the most extreme example is I offered to like hold the door for someone because
oh my god, you do live
crutches.
in California.
Yeah, they're on crutches and they're like, no, I can do it myself. I'm like,
no, can you actually?
I
actually don't know if you can do that.
Like I really don't want to watch the struggle here. I know it'll be easier for everyone if you could just let me hold the door open for you.
I've noticed on the east and the west coast, I've run into people looking at me sideways for holding doors open them. But in the South, like you always hold the door. You hold the door open no matter what in the South. Like if somebody fucking walks in front of me and doesn't hold the door open, I'm like, you cunt. Like I'm literally like, you bitch. Like what the fuck was that? Yeah.
What's super funny about this is because I spent half my life in the South. Wyatt has, again, extremely good manners. So the thing is Wyatt, there was this old man trying to put his cart back in the store because they didn't have the cart racks in like the parking lot. It's really small store. So like Wyatt saw this older gentleman take this old gentleman trying to take his cart back. There was another gentleman that took his cart, had his groceries in his hand, and was like, no, I'll put it back for you, and like started walking towards the door. And without even missing a beat, Wyatt was next to this guy and was like, I got it, don't worry, we're going inside anyways.
Respectful young man. Yes.
Yep. And he takes it inside all the way and he puts it away, and next thing you know, there's an older, like an old gentleman, probably like had to be like 80, 90, and he was trying to get the glass door open and it's not automatic, so like he's pushing a cart in like a normal, in like a cart-sized hallway, trying to push the door open while pushing the cart through. And Wyatt goes and holds the door for this man, both sets of doors. And I just sat there waiting like patiently. And this lady comes up from behind him and goes, he's so sweet. And I was like, thank you.
Bug doing the right thing. We love to see it. I'm getting secondhand pride right now. I've never even met this kid, and I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of him.
I was so happy because I didn't say anything. He just did it. He did it. Didn't even ask.
So,
like he just
did it. So naturally this conversation skewed this way, and I think that it's a good way for it to go. So LARP and Sin are kind of both on the same wave, or at least they're going down similar paths. So LARP said, and this is a good point, which this is a point, like the way that LARP is thinking, is something that I think people should take away from this conversation as well, which is don't, like, if you see a behavior, don't always assume the worst, because like that's ultimately what I did too. I was like, man, I hate it when people do this. LARP said, I think that a lot of women just naturally have their guard up because of dudes in the first category. It's unfortunately a natural defense at this point, which I think is definitely true. Like, I think that like the reason why a lot of times that women will have that reaction is because they're so used to people. And actually, whenever I think about this, there's been a time where I've said, no, I was just trying to compliment you. And they literally said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to like come off like that. Like, and I think that the implied thing was like, the implied thing was like, oh, my bad. Like, I'm just so used to people being only like this. Right.
Yeah. Like we're conditioned to be that way.
I want to hear your
story.
We're
conditioned to be that way from a young age.
I want to hear your story. Let's hear it.
Wait, which story?
Oh, I thought you said I have a story.
No, that was previously.
Am I crazy? I really thought you just said
a story.
No, I'm saying I just had a moment where I thought I heard you say I have a story like right then. Like that was weird. I guess I just must have misheard something. But Sin said this. Excuse me. I think men are more often creepy compared to women though. Men are much more thirsty because it's harder for men to court women. Guys being much more desperate makes it safer for women to be approached by men, which leads to them rejecting men more often due to how many options they have. This leads to men having to do more desperate things to get women's attention. Not agreeing with this. They're still weirdos, but this is just my mindset. It's one of those things where it's like that's a fact. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like
that's just a fact of life.
And also on top of it just being a fact, there's also a little part of me that's like, if you take that idea to like the farthest extreme, those are the type of men, and I know like Sin hates these type of people. Like me and Sin have often had conversations or have had a few conversations where we'll be like, bro, don't you hate when people act like this? And we're talking about, we're not allowed to say this word on stream, but somebody who's inside of a cell, you'd call them an in-blank cell. Incel. That's what that is. Like somebody who's like, man, I'm done. I'm done. All women are trash. They don't do it, like that kind of person. That's the person I'm describing.
Those are like the extreme ends of
Lori said, I live in PA and we always hold the door. I'd love to see it. So Akeno said, these are all like interesting thoughts too, so I'm gonna read all three of these. Sorry if this is like slowing down the podcast or anything, but in Alabama, I'm in Alabama, so the other weird thing is that not only do men hold the door for women, but there's this unspoken rule that if a woman is in a higher position than you hold the door for them. Oh, I've seen this too. You're right. Like the female employee, won't ever allow me to touch the door. Yes, I've seen this as well. Yeah,
that's a status thing that goes back a long way. Yeah. It happens in the city too, like New York City, when there's like female CEOs and CFOs.
It's really just like, oh yeah, she actually said this later. I was about to say this too. I just read this on the Streamlabs chat opposed to the chat that I pulled out. She said, not only a woman, but if a person is in a position higher than you. Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. I was about to say, like, whenever I'd be with my bosses whenever I was younger, I would feel that obligation sometimes as well. Like, I would feel like the pressure to do that. Di said, guys are fucking creeps. Agreed. My ex's current boyfriend was doing that best friend thing. Oh, God. The entire time we were dating, always trying to push her into breaking things off with me. And then we would have fights and stuff, and always trying to hang out and shit. Fucking weird. And
that is weird.
I feel bad. Like, sometimes I get this guilt about being a guy where I'm like, bro, like, why do I have to be associated with these people? Because, like,
with all these scumbags.
Yeah, because, like, there's so many scumbags that are guys. Like, like, the ratio of scumbags in men to women is just so fucking skewed towards men. And, like, it just sucks because, like, of the exact same thing that LARP said, where it's like you go to approach a woman and they immediately assume that you're a creep, which is not an illogical thing to think, because the amount of guys that come up to her that are creep. I've had girls tell me before. I literally just had a girl tell me this yesterday. Actually, it was actually yesterday. She said this. She goes, I am not used to guys being as nice to me as you are. And I literally said, and this is my exact response, I go, I am treating you like a person. Like that is like
I'm giving you the common decency you deserve.
Dude, like I literally was treating her like any other person that I've ever talked to. None of them, like, I was not treating her in any kind of, like, super, in my mind, I'm not like, oh, I'm treating you so, like, perfectly, and I'm gonna do my, I was just like, yeah, I'm especially trying not to give you super high standards of me, because I'm like just trying to be myself, you know what I mean? And then LARP said, you know how many women had that? I love how LARP and Diet were talking about the same thing. That's fucking funny.
Actually, LARP's is a little different once you read it all the way.
Yeah, but I'm saying they both have the concept of the best guy friend thing. You know how many women had a best guy friend, quote unquote, that stopped being their friend whenever they realized they weren't gonna get ass out of the situation? That shit is painful. So the defense just becomes natural. Yeah, true, very true. What up, Benez? Been lurking? How you doing, Benez? This is why it's detrimental as men to call other men right. You have to call other men out. You have to hold men accountable. Like hold people accountable in general. Like, but especially men. I agree. Since I will say this though, I've been in positions where I felt like someone liked me, or were closer to me than what it truly was. It really sucks when people will show you things with their actions. True. Okay. Yeah. But then they act like they weren't being more than a friend with you. It made me distrust people when they act certain ways toward you. That's a fact. We've all had that. I think if
I think that's normal.
If you've been a human for long enough, you've had that situation where you start developing feelings for somebody because of the way that they're treating you, and then they're like, "What do you mean? I'm not treating you any type of way." Which I feel like almost like. The reason why, like, I didn't respond badly to whenever the girl said that to me, like, whenever she was like, oh my god, I feel like you're just being so nice, I've never had a guy be this nice to me. I didn't respond badly. I was just like, oh, that's crazy, like, I just feel like I'm being myself. But in my mind, I was like, okay, I feel like now I have an expectation put on me that you might think that I might like you more than I do because I'm just being nice to you. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of scared me. That was like something that was in my head whenever she said that.
Hold on. You can't say anything about it either, because then she just says you're being insecure. That is because she knows that deep down that's a situation that's real. Like that guy wants to fuck her in some way. Like, I hate to be that devil's advocate type of person, but I've seen way too many women say that same thing and tear a man down to his bare fucking bones with that, oh, you're being insecure. Oh, you're being insecure. This is why we can't be together, blah, blah, blah. And then they leave him and then they fuck their best friend. And you're like, bitch, did you not just tell him 50 times that he was the one that was insecure, but you knew all along what was going on?
It's the meme, the guys who told you not to worry about meme. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
oh, don't worry about him. He's just, I know that he's a multi-billionaire and is always taking me out to lunch at this fancy restaurant you could never afford, but don't worry about him. It's totally fine. And then she ends up with him.
Yeah, no. Like, I can't. I will beat a woman up over that. I swear to God.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Tyler, you ever find yourself in that situation with a girl? I swear to God, I'll beat somebody up for you. I will slap somebody.
I don't know. I don't
think you'd ever let it get that far.
Yeah, I don't think it would. I think I'm pretty clear with my boundaries where I'm like, hey, you're allowed to have friends, but like if I fucking start sensing shit, like here's my rule. If I'm in a relationship, this is something that I make sure is like on both sides, not just on one side or the other, where I'm like, hey, if if you start feeling uncomfortable by one of my female friends, tell me and I will correct the behavior, 1, or 2, if it is actually like being a certain way and I can understand like, yeah, it is, I'll have a conversation with them and be like, hey, I can't act like this anymore. And like, honestly, like, I'm just not the type that would do this, but like, if I feel like I would understand if they were upset, like if it was something weird, like if something weird was going on. And yeah, of course, Akeno's saying, oh my god, a guy friend do that. A guy best friend do that with me. I was dating a guy, and as soon as we broke up, after a year and a half, he started hitting on me. Then I rejected him, and he sent me a video of him making out. Like, that's like,
Wait,
bro,
what?
that's insane, Akeno, because that's like him assuming that you fucking care. Like, you know, Akeno literally, this is a live version of Akeno opening that video, just in case this guy is somehow watching the stream. This is literally what her fucking face was whenever she literally goes, ew. And then she turned off. Like, there was no
you
like,
literally just go,
rolling.
it's not like, it's not like she got jealous, or like, it's not like Akeno would get jealous over that. Like, it's not like she's like, oh my god, now I want to be with you, you know, like,
yeah,
no,
like, oh my
happened.
god, the toy I couldn't have, oh no,
Yeah,
the toy
oh,
I didn't
man.
want, oh no, God
and
forbid.
that's true too, Sin, which led to me being much more guarded. Eventually became very hard for me to
Dono, are you
love
frozen?
people,
Yeah, my camera's bugging out.
because it felt
Okay, I
like
was
they
just
were
making
just
sure.
playing around with my emotions. I felt that as well, Sin. Yeah, I feel it too. They said women aren't angels. I almost read that as angles, but I stopped myself. Angels. Women definitely will play up that quote unquote window to gain things from you as well. Women will lead a motherfucker on quick. Some women, yeah. Well, we have to generalize like all of these right here because we can't say every woman would be anyway.
I mean, they are dating.
I know he's 6'5" and drives an Audi, but don't worry, babe. Ayo, that's you, LARP. But I know you didn't just describe yourself like that. That's kind of crazy. And I don't just mean be nice to her either, Tyler. I mean like legitimate relationship stuff, and then acted like I was being weird. Yes, no, I know what you mean. Like that's what I figured that you meant. Like I figured that you meant like y'all are like cuddling under a blanket watching a movie and like, you know, holding hands when you're out in public and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what I assumed that you meant.
Yeah, I feel like that was the situation, or like y'all were texting back and forth, and like it was good
like,
morning,
yeah,
good night.
there's little
like
hearts
y'all
and
are
there's
literally
a kissy face from time to time. Yeah,
like
yeah,
cute little shit like that. No, that's more than friends. Like I'll say that right now. Unless that's like a clear boundary, because don't get me wrong, I send kissy faces to certain people that I am not in a relationship with. I mean, would I be in a relationship with them? Maybe, but that's for me to know and nobody to find out. But like, you know what I'm saying? I get that, but that's the thing, like that lead on situation, or like that, oh, he's weird, I never wanted it to be like that. No, you're just a fucking spiteful bitch and you're mad that he's with somebody else, or vice versa, or you're just being a bitch because he moved on because you weren't reciprocating and telling everybody that, you know, that's not what you wanted. So he found that out and goodbye.
Yep.
Like I've seen that happen so many times. Like I hate to put it in like this sense, but I'm only about to be 30, but I've lived like a whole lifetime already, and it's
you
just,
do have a lot of life experiences for how young you are. Like
I've seen way
you remind
too
me of
much
LARP in that
shit.
respect. Like y'all both have a lot of life experience. Yeah, LARP, I'm gonna. Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know if we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say nothing. No, I guess he just said it. I mean, he just said it. He just called me. What Sin? Can I? What?
What can Tyler say?
I'm afraid to talk about this. Like, I don't want to cross any lines, but like you just did say it in chat, so I feel like it's pretty.
Yeah, finding your person for real though is probably one of the most satisfying experiences. I hope that everybody in chat, everybody in this call gets that experience in this lifetime, because it fucking sucks to be alone. And all y'all motherfuckers that are like, I'm fine being alone, you're a lying sack of shit.
I agree. I think that you can be fine with being alone though, like for
You
a
can
period
be
of
fine
time.
with being, that's the key. Or you can be fine being alone while having your person too. Like, get the fuck away from me, I want to be alone. That's very different than spending 60 to 100 years
Being
on this
alone,
planet.
right? Yeah, that is a big difference.
That's a
Like,
long
you are a
time.
lion sack of dog shit if you think
dude,
that you're okay being alone.
What Love and what Sin just said, what Love just said and what Sin is saying, no, that was actually my fault, Love. Every once in a while somebody will like be talking, but they'll be doing that thing, you know, where you're trying to like really make sure that like if you're trying to drive a point home, you'll be like, they are in, and like I'll hear that slight moment and I'm like, I need to jump in right now, but then it's not the right time, so it's actually my fault. But I appreciate you for apologizing anyways. But
I'm sorry.
Again, still my fault, but so I'm sorry, but Sin, so like Sin was saying and what Love just said, like I a dumb idiot. Hello. Thank you for the follow. I don't think you're a dumb idiot though. So I think that there's something great, and I wrote this to Sin. I said there's something so nice about being secure in your relationship. I fucking love that, bro. Because Sin said this. Sin said, but I'm in love now and I don't have to worry about weird women anymore. Bro, it's so nice whenever you're in like a long-term relationship and you're like, I don't have to worry about dating at all. I just get to be in this relationship and I get to just not have to worry about that. That's why it was like scary whenever I became single. And I'm sure Sin can attest to this as well, because he was in the same situation as me almost at the exact same time. Where it was like, fuck, I have to worry about being single again. I didn't have to worry about this my entire life. And by the way, just touching on the Sin proposal thing, dude, he calls me today. I'm about to start jumping on the trampoline with my younger brother, which I promised him that I would do, right? Like I'm like, I promise I will jump on the trampoline with you. Sin calls me. And he just goes, yo, what's going on? He said, ear. Don't let me mischaracterize him. He said, ear. And I said, yo. And then he goes, what's up, man? I'm like, I'm about to jump on the trampoline with my younger brother. And I'm thinking that he's just calling because, like, we'll just call each other and talk, whatever. No big deal. And then he goes, so I just wanted to tell you, I am going to propose to my girl pretty soon. And I was like, huh? Because like I just wasn't ready for like any big news in that instant. I was like, what? And then I started thinking about like what I do know, and I'm not going to share because it's none of my business. But what I do know about Sin in the context of that relationship and their relationship, the limited knowledge that I do have, and I had this like instant sensation of like secondhand relief where it was like, my boy doesn't have to go through the single life anymore. You love to see it. I'm like, he's gonna be with a girl that he fucking loves and that he's happy with. And you fucking just love to see it. I don't know. There's just something so nice to see your fucking friends winning in every aspect of their life. And that was one of those instances where I was like, God, I'm so happy for it. It was like this sensation of like pure bliss went over me. I was like, yes, good for you, Sin. You know, it was like one of those situations. It was so nice. So I'm super happy for him. I'm excited. And I don't know when the ceremony will be due to COVID and everything, but I'll be there. You know that I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be
for real. Like, let me know where your registry is.
Yep,
I'll send you.
Yep. Let us know. I'm gonna have to have Love and Jazzy tag teaming my that was about to sound inappropriate. So let me rephrase that. I'm gonna have Love and Jazzy both handling my my suit that I will be working. I
will handle travel arrangements as well because Tyler
and she's gonna pay for them, which thank you. I apprate that, Love, for thinking. I appreciate it. Now that I'm Love's son, so I can get some cinnamon rolls. This also comes along with her financially taking care of me in every way. So thank you. I appreciate that, Love.
Sure. Yeah, you're welcome. You can live in the basement with Langer.
I'm down for that, actually. He's a cool roommate.
Like, sign me the fuck
up. I'm like, wait, this deal just got a little sweeter. No, Tyler,
yeah,
like
you do
no, Tyler, I mean like confusing things, like say you're studying together and it's cold and you let her hold your jacket because she's shivering, but she interprets that as more, oh right, but but say shouty cold. Bro, I had that at my work at one point. There was this girl who, by the way, if I was not in a relationship at that time.
Oh, I've heard this story.
No, this is not the same. This is not the same. That was a MILF. That was a MILF. This was somebody my age who was just so bad, bro. Oh my god. And she goes, it was cold, but you know, I worked outside in the garden department, and I most of the time would wear a t-shirt because it would get so fucking hot like when you started working, like no matter how cold it is, if the humidity's at 100% and you're fucking, well, not no matter how cold you are, but if it's like fucking 50 degrees, right, or 60 degrees, or like 55 degrees, something like that, and it's like, and it's cold, and like if you're standing still you might feel like you need a jacket or something, but when you're fucking, all your job is like lifting shit, you know what I mean, like you very quickly are like, oh, I'm hot again, I need to take this off, and it was just annoying, so I wouldn't put one on. And so she comes up to me and she goes, oh my god, I'm so cold. I go, oh, do you want my jacket? It's in my car. And that's literally how I'm responding to her, because again, at this point I'm very transactional with women in general. And so I'm like, oh, it's in my car, do you want me to go get it? And she goes, yes, oh my god, that'd be so good. And then all of a sudden she thinks she can keep this jacket, and I'm like, what? Give me my jacket back. I literally said like this. She starts walking back inside because, you know, she switched out of the all of the cashiers would like switch around, you know, and she like starts walking inside with my jacket. I go, hey, let me get my jacket back. And she goes, what? I go, yeah, let me get my jacket back. She goes, oh, I can't. And I'm like, no, that's my jacket. Give it back. Like that was like my reaction to it. But yeah, she thought that we were something more. I talked to her later, and she goes, oh, I thought like you were flirting with me. I go, no. I'm like, you just said you were cold, and I said, do you need a jacket? that was the end of the. So yeah, I've had both sides. Also, I want to catch up on Sin's thing. He said, I won't have already spoken to her about it. Getting nervous is what she was referring to. I won't have already spoken to her about it. You know me, Akeno. I was just like, can I propose to you? Which I agree. That's a conversation. I told someone whenever he told me, I go, bro, I would for sure know for sure if my girl was gonna say yes or no. Like by the time that I was asking, you know what I mean? Love you. Love your One Piece content, your hood reviews. Love to see it. Of course, you're all invited. Let's go. Ayo, the Sensei Grand Fleet.
Party.
Since really about to have a model of the Going Merry, and he's gonna get married on that. That'd be pretty fucking sick. Okay. I know it's not actually awesome. Gonna do that, but imagine how fucking cool that'd be.
Ghetto and classy. I appreciate it. I'm so ready for it. You know, I'm a hood rat myself.
We're gonna be wearing suits. We're gonna have black Air Forces on.
Black Air Force gang. I'm so with it.
That's one of the main things that Sin says in his videos, bro. The Black Air Force personified, bro. We gotta bring that to life.
Can I wear a dress with Converse?
Oh, that'd be kind of a vibe.
Is that acceptable? Because like I'm so ready for that. If that's the case, sign me up. Where do I put my deposit?
I mean, we all know that y'all are gonna have to help me with my outfit, otherwise.
Don't worry, Dono. We got you. We got you.
I will not be helping you because that would just be a detriment to you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It will be Jazzy and I styling everybody, and that's all it'll be.
To be fair, we did realize like at the beginning of this, Dono is one step below me as far as clothing goes.
Gosh, he's not gonna drop this for like the next month or two. This is gonna be the thing.
Oh, the Jordan heels from the 2000s. Let's go. I've actually worn black Air Forces to a formal function many times.
Ooh, or the Timberland boots with like really nice. Oh, God, stop. All right. Sorry, I'm living my 2000s ghetto dream.
So, I'm trying to think if we have anything else to go off of that because that was such a fucking complicated topic. But then everybody had so much to say that I felt like I couldn't leave it out. You know what I mean? Like everybody had so much shit to talk about that I was like, these are all good points.
This is literally why NSA exists. Just so everybody knows, NSA is a place where like you can just say whatever and like we'll take it and we'll run with it and we'll get all the we'll get all the bullshit out of the way.
I like these kind of streams where like the chat is like super interactive because you get like 12 or 20 perspectives all at once. You know what I mean? Like there's never a time where we end up being in a what do they call that whenever an echo chamber. You don't really get in an echo chamber because everybody has such different my girl's one of those free spirit type people. She dead ass wears crystal. She's always okay. So it turns out that Love and your girl are gonna be best friends.
We are literally we could be like this for real because soul sister right there. Protection. I literally just sage smudged my house like day before yesterday,
bro.
Which nobody knows what that is, but Sin's girlfriend will know.
I know what sage sister means.
You mean sage smudging?
I know what sage smudging means. Love, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. That was an example of one of those times where you started talking about something that I wasn't immediately interested in, and so I started just reading the chat, and then I just heard sage something, and I thought you said sage sister.
Sage sister, yes, that's the thing that she decided to say.
That's so fucking embarrassing. I hate my life. This is one of those times where you just get the song Sage Sister. Hey, Sage Sister.
Hey, Sage Sister.
Oh God. Okay, well I think this is as good a time as ever to end the fucking stream. Oh, I appreciate all you legends for being here. I appreciate it. She's always reading my tarot cards and getting these crystals to wear. Oh, actually, that's kind of cool. I'm always interested whenever people like Love and I have had a few conversations about like spiritual shit because of that.
There's one right here. Boom, crystal hanging from my microphone.
But yeah, this is the end of the podcast. Thank you. Thank you for everybody that hung out for the entire thing or part of it or whatever, and thank you Dono and Love for the conversation. This was a fucking good conversation as always, and I appreciate both of you. I do want to, in a serious note, say that Dono and Love are two of the more important people in my life. I've known Dono for quite some time, and we've had a lot of deeper conversations, a lot of conversations that are just chit chat. Love, you know where you stand for real, and also Also, Sin and Diet, and a lot of people in the chat. I'm not going to sit here and name everybody in the chat because obviously there's so many people that it would take fucking forever to sit here and name everybody. But all of you mean a lot to me.
I was really trying to get us to cry some more.
A great deal to me, and I appreciate all of you for being present. And like Yurik, like you're another person. I really appreciate you for being as active and presenting so many new ideas because you aren't typically here. Larp says I mean nothing to him. That sucks. I fucking hate my life now. But yeah, I will see you guys later. We're rating Briggs because he rated me the other day, and I tried to rate him the other day, but he was doing a sub-only stream, so hopefully he's not doing that anymore. Bye!
Bye!